Chapter 293. Crack, crack. The ground cracked and rocks flew. The golden-patterned ancient scorpion coughed out blood. Its eyes were glazed over and it could no longer crawl. Swish! Su-Yi leaped up and landed on the back of the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. He unsheathed his spiritual weapon and pointed it at the scorpion's head. Goo-goo! The azure wave golden beast was also dumbfounded. Its eyes were filled with shock. The human in front of it was too ferocious. Awoo! At this moment, the three-demon true stage brute beasts finally regained their senses. They roared and moved with fear in their eyes. If the young master in front of them died, they would be in trouble when they returned. Evil creatures, do you want it to die? Su-Yi's eyes were red as he stared at the three-demon true realm brute demon beasts with the Origin Supreme technique. Underscore most WY new chapter section super caret 4. Awoo! The three-demon true realm brute demon beasts roared, but they didn't dare to take a step forward. Take it away and don't provoke us again. Otherwise, I'll kill it, Su-Yi said to the three-demon true realm brute demon beasts. He didn't want to kill the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. This was the barbaric demon forest, and the golden-patterned ancient scorpion was a demon cub. There was definitely an expert behind it. With so many people around, Su-Yi didn't dare to kill the golden-patterned ancient scorpion, but he had to do it. Therefore, Su-Yi wanted to restrain the golden-patterned ancient scorpion in exchange for everyone's safety. At least they could leave this place first. Awoo! The three-demon true realm brute demon beasts nodded. They had no other choice. Su-Yi believed the three-demon true realm brute demon beasts. The golden-patterned ancient scorpion seemed to be their master. Now that the golden-patterned ancient scorpion was heavily injured, the three-demon true realm brute demon beasts didn't dare to attack again. Just as Su-Yi expected, the three-demon true realm brute demon beasts left with the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. Thank you, human. Seeing the golden-patterned ancient scorpion leave, the azure wave golden beast roared and spoke to Su-Yi in beast language. It looked at Su-Yi with shock. Soon, the azure wave gold beast's huge body began to shrink. Its body was covered in a golden color. It was only about 10 feet long. It was several times smaller than before, as expected of a demon cub. Su-Yi didn't find it strange. There was a huge difference between a demon cub and an ordinary demon beast. Some powerful demon race youngsters could shrink their bodies. This was extremely beneficial to their cultivation and energy consumption. There's no need to be so courteous. We were just trying to protect ourselves. Let's part ways here. We'll mind our own business, Su-Yi said. He didn't want to interact with the azure water crimson gold beast. Wait, the cold water crimson gold beast stopped Su-Yi. There was some light in its eyes as it said, "You are humans. It's not safe here. You saved me, and I have nothing to repay you with. Keep this. If you run into any trouble in this area, take it out. It might be useful." The azure wave golden beast's chest glowed, and a ray of red light appeared in front of Su-Yi. Su-Yi reached out and caught it. It was an exceptionally bright red mane. It glowed and had a beast's aura. "My name is Chi-Yen. If you take this item and say my name in this area, you will have some face. If we have the chance to meet again in the future, I will thank you for your help." The azure wave golden beast turned and left. This azure wave golden beast bloodline is not low. Su-Tian-Ke watched from the side without any intention of interfering. What did the azure wave golden beast say? Seeing the azure wave golden beast leave, Shangguan Rock, Xiongzhan, and Hu Qi walked to Su-Yi's side curiously. They didn't understand the language of beasts, but they could tell that the azure wave golden beast was thanking Su-Yi for his help. "It's nothing. We have to leave this place quickly. Otherwise, we'll be in big trouble." Su-Yi put away the mane. At the same time, he took out an elixir and stuffed it into his mouth. He had used up a lot of energy just now to suppress the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. Then, the group sped up and left. They had just severely injured a golden-patterned ancient scorpion. That was a demon true realm brute demon beast. There must be an expert behind it. They knew that they couldn't stay here for long and had to leave as soon as possible. After a day and a night, they passed through many mountains. Su-yi finally led the group to their destination. This was a ravine within the boundless mountain range. Moreover, it was filled with mist. However, there was a completely different world within it. It was a paradise that was large enough to allow over 1,000 people to live here. How's the clan? When they saw Hu Qi, Xiongzhan, Su-yi, and the others arrive, there were already over 200 people surrounding them. Almost all of them were young children and young girls. The older ones were only 12 or 13 years old. They were the future of the spirit ancient village, the wild bear tribe, and the tribe of tiger hunters. There were a few experts in charge in this group. The strongest among them were 3 old men who had just reached the first level of the Origin Void stage. They originally wanted to live and die together with their home, but their responsibility was even greater to protect the future of the various clans. Woo-woo. Gathering everyone was originally a happy thing. However, when they heard the question at this moment, some people couldn't hold it in anymore. They shed tears and told everyone about the situation. Why did it turn out like this? Are they all dead? Why are those people so ruthless? Father, mother. Instantly, the entire place was filled with tears and grief. Some of the youths cried and wanted to go out and take revenge, but they were stopped by the experts of the various clans. Their eyes were also wet as they said, "You're still too young. You're not their match. You're the future, the hope. Only when you're strong one day can you take revenge." After a long time, the young children finally calmed down. They were all filled with grief. Let's settle down first. The 3 Origin Void Realm experts were all in their 40s. One from each of the Spirit Ancient Village, the Hunting Tiger Tribe, and the Barbarian Bear Tribe. They asked everyone to settle down first. "I'm afraid this place isn't particularly safe. We need to leave as soon as possible." Su-yi spoke. The purpose of gathering everyone was that he was afraid this place wouldn't be too safe. Those great enemies were bent on getting the things left behind by the Tianyao school. Seeing Su Tianke lead everyone away, they definitely wouldn't give up. Once those great enemies found this place, it would be a disaster. The Tianyao school couldn't withstand any more disasters. This place is a secret place that our ancestors have been searching for generations. We stored a lot of food and cultivation resources just in case such a day would come. This place isn't unsafe for now. Besides, we don't have anywhere else to go. You're an outsider, so don't say too much. The expert from the Wild Bear Tribe spoke. His name was Xiong Lu, and he was Xiongzhan's uncle. This was a matter of the Wild Bear Tribe. He wouldn't listen to an outsider. If it weren't for the fact that he knew how amazing Su-yi was during the competition, he probably wouldn't have bothered to reply. Uncle Lu, Xiongzhan, Xiong and the others wanted to say something, but Su-yi waved his hand to stop them. He nodded and said, "Then let's settle down here first. We can talk about other things later." Chapter 294. Seeing that Su-yi didn't say anything, Su Tianke didn't say anything either. He walked straight in with his short legs and looked around curiously. After that, everyone followed the other clansmen of their respective clans to settle down. This place was very secluded. Every generation of Tianyao School's ancestors had cleaned it up. They had stored a lot of food and cultivation resources, repaired many houses, and opened up many caves for people to live in. It was enough for thousands of people to settle down here. Now, there were only about 300 people left in Tianyao School. Most of them were young children. If nothing unexpected happened, they could stay here for several years. Su-yi settled down and lived in a house with the remaining people of Spirit Ancient Village. Although the house was a little simple, it was enough for them to live in. Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Yu, Shangguan Shiwei, and the others went to meet with the villagers who had come first to inform them of the current situation in Spirit Ancient Village. YF. Chapter 2. First edition. Su-yi stayed in the house. He sat in his room with a solemn expression. This place wasn't too far from where Tianyao School used to be. Although it was very secluded, it was definitely not a safe place. They needed to leave as soon as possible. However, Su-yi knew that if they left this place, these 300 people, all of whom were young, needed protection. Where could they go in the barbaric demon forest? Su-yi still hadn't come to his senses after suddenly becoming the new sect master of Tianyao School. However, He had already obtained the ancient heavenly phase scripture and planned to cultivate the techniques in it. No matter what, Su-yi knew that he had to shoulder this responsibility. With Su-yi's personality, even if he wasn't the new sect master of Tian Yao School, how could Su-yi leave so many young children and young men and women of Spirit Ancient Village behind when he was around? Although he was still very insignificant, with Su-yi's personality, he would at least do his best. Moreover, he was now the new suzerain of Tian Yao School. Su-yi had this kind of responsibility in his heart. He had to bear this responsibility. Although this place is hidden, it's not too safe. What do you plan to do? Su Tianke jumped onto a chair and leaned against it. He lifted his head and asked Su-yi, I have nowhere to go at the moment. Su-yi smiled bitterly. Not to mention where they could go with more than 300 people, they were still in the barbaric devil forest. More than 300 people were still rookies. They couldn't even take care of themselves, so there was no place for them to stay. This is the barbaric devil forest, the territory of the demon clan. Most of the enemies of the Tian Yao School are humans. Last time, they suddenly came to fight and caused a huge commotion. I'm afraid that the experts of the demon clan have already been alerted. Those experts want to come again. After all, this is the barbaric devil forest territory. I'm afraid that they will have absolute scruples. Perhaps this place can still be safe for a while. Su Tianke was much more relaxed. He said to Su, I think that this is the barbaric devil forest. With so many people suddenly appearing here, I'm afraid that the barbaric devil beasts will discover us. What we should be worried about now is that we should be on guard against those barbaric devil beasts. Su-yi's eyes narrowed. Su Tiang's words were not without reason. With so many people suddenly appearing here, no matter how hidden this place was, it would be difficult to avoid being discovered by all the barbaric devil beasts. To the barbaric devil beasts, humans were just food. Let's settle down for now. I have to think of a way. In the end, Su-yi said this. He could only slowly think of a foolproof plan. The setting sun shone brightly at dusk. Many older youths from the Spirit Ancient Village, as well as the Origin Void Realm cultivator, who looked to be in his 50s, came to Su-yi. They had heard from Shangwan Shui, Shangwan Rock, and the others that Su-yi had become the new schoolmaster. As for the Tian Yao School and the new schoolmaster, they had already heard about it from the Demon Venerable before they left. However, they did not expect that Su-yi would become the new schoolmaster of the Tian Yao School. Master. Some of the youths hesitated whether they should salute or not. The Origin Void Realm old man was also hesitating. At this moment, only a group of young people from the Spirit Ancient Village was left. All the powerhouses and elders had died. For such a big matter, they did not know how to deal with it. When they left, they found out that the Spirit Ancient Village, the tribe of tiger hunters, and the wild bear tribe all belonged to the Tian Yao School and had a common ancestor. It's okay, Elder Shangwan. Is there a quiet place here? I would like to cultivate in seclusion for a few days. Su-yi smiled faintly. He did not need the others to salute him as he spoke to the Origin Void Realm old man. Su-yi already knew this old man. His name was Shangwan Su, and he was now the last remaining elder of the Spirit Ancient Village. Yes, there is. It's quiet and suitable for seclusion. No one will disturb you. Shangwan Su did not know how to choose. He did not know if he should acknowledge the new schoolmaster of the Tian Yao School. After all, this was a big matter. However, it was easy to find a quiet place for him to cultivate in seclusion. This place had been taken care of by the ancestors for many generations. Everything had been arranged long ago. Su-yi nodded. He wanted to cultivate in seclusion for a few days to sort out his thoughts. He also wanted to think about what to do next and where to take everyone. It's just a little hard for everyone to accept. Maybe it will be better after a while. Please don't be offended. After a while, Shangwan Shui found Su-yi, who was alone with her, and spoke to Su-yi privately. She knew that not only was the new schoolmaster unfamiliar to everyone, but they were also unfamiliar with the Tian Yao School. I understand. It's okay. Su-yi smiled helplessly. The new schoolmaster of the Tian Yao School had suddenly fallen on him. Even he himself had not recovered from the shock, let alone the others. When night fell, Su-yi and Su Tianke left some instructions. Shangwan Su personally led them to a secluded place in the back of the mountain. It was a large area of hidden rock walls. There were many natural caves. The ancestors had installed thick stone doors, which were suitable for seclusion and meditation. This place is very quiet. You can cultivate in seclusion without worry. I'll give the order. No one will disturb you, Shangwan Su said to Su Yi at the entrance of the cave. Very good. Thank you, Elder. Su Yi clasped his hands. It seemed that this place was not bad. It was very quiet and suitable for seclusion. Elder Shangwan Su did not leave immediately. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. Looking at Su Yi, he finally mustered his courage and asked, I wonder if you've already obtained the rumored greatest benefit in the Heavenly Monster Cave? I don't know what the rumored greatest benefit in the Heavenly Monster Cave is, but I did obtain some things left behind by the previous schoolmaster of the Tianyao School. After I figure it out, I'll give it to everyone. Su Yi nodded and did not hide anything. Then I wonder what the previous sect master left behind. Elder Shangwan Su's eyes lit up when he heard this. He was very excited. Chapter 295. Then I shall not disturb your seclusion any longer. Goodbye. Elder Shangwan Su was very excited as he bid farewell. The cultivation technique left behind by the previous sect leader would not be simple. After watching Elder Shangwan Su leave, Su Yi put down the stone door and set up a seal. Everything in the cave was simple. There was only a stone platform, and the area was quite spacious. It was indeed a good place for seclusion. Sitting cross-legged, Su Yi's expression became somewhat expectant. He formed a seal with his hands, and light spread out from between his brows as he summoned the mysterious space. Boom! The mysterious space appeared, and Su Yi was enveloped by it as he appeared in the mysterious space. In an instant, a majestic aura that seemed to have crossed the ancient times and descended, enveloping Su Yi's body. The entire space seemed to ripple with a divine radiance before Su Yi's eyes. It's so spacious. The first thing Su Yi did was to size up the area of the mysterious space. The mysterious space, which was originally 1,000 feet in radius, had expanded to more than double its original size. As far as the eye could see, the area of the mysterious space was not small anymore. Within a radius of 20 to 30,000 feet, he could actually see the rise and fall of mountains. The surroundings were hazy and emitted a faint radiance. However, Su Yi still remembered that when he swallowed the iron-armored demonic rhinoceros's demon pill and broke through to the 6th level of the Yuan profound realm, the energy of heaven and earth in the space was much thinner, but it was still very rich. It was far better than the paradise of the spirit ancient village. At this moment, the energy of heaven and earth was much thinner. However, it was still much richer than the energy of heaven and earth in the outside world. My lord is here. As Su Yi appeared, the language of beasts could be heard from afar. One by one, the barbaric beasts immediately surrounded him. Swoosh, swoosh. 2 tiny golden figures swept out like 2 rays of yellow light and rushed to Su Yi. They immediately landed on Su Yi's shoulders intimately. The 2 yellow figures were none other than Debeo and Shaoling. The other barbaric beasts were naturally the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, the white jade mystic bird, the golden python, the fiery demon mink, and the fiery barbaric bird that had been cultivating in the mysterious space. Not bad, not bad. Su Yi's gaze swept across the barbaric demonic beasts one by one. As he sensed their auras, a look of astonishment flashed across his eyes. During this period of time, the barbaric demon beasts that had been cultivating in seclusion in the mysterious space had all made breakthroughs based on their auras. In fact, it wasn't just a small breakthrough. 8th level demon spirit realm. 7th level demon spirit realm. Su Yi estimated that the golden python had reached the 8th level of the demon spirit realm, while the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, scarlet flame demon mink, white jade mystic bird, and the rest had reached the 7th level of the demon spirit realm. On the other hand, the blazing barbaric bird and the snow jade barbaric ape were slightly weaker. They were only at the 6th stage of the demon spirit realm. The ones that shocked Su Yi the most were still Debeo and Xiaoling previously, Su-Yi still remembered that Dabeo and Xiaoling's aura were at the first level of the demon profound realm. But now, they were already at the fourth level of the demon profound realm. The cultivation speed of these two little fellas was absolutely fast. Barbaric demon beasts were different from humans. Barbaric demon beasts were born with powerful physiques or innate talents. Therefore, their cultivation speed was much slower than humans. But now, Dabeo and Xiaoling's cultivation speed was even faster than the top geniuses of the human race. Su-Yi remembered that he had only been in the Heavenly Demon Cave for about 2 months since he broke through to the 6th level of the Yuan Profound Realm. But these two little fellas had already reached the 4th level of the Demon Profound Realm from the 1st level of the Demon Profound Realm. Not bad, not bad. Su-Yi rejoiced. Dabeo, Xiaoling, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, the golden python, and the rest had all obtained great benefits from the mysterious space. After obtaining the inheritance of the mysterious space, they all became different. If this continued, it wouldn't take long for the golden python, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the rest to become experts. In the future, with the mysterious space's magical effects and mysterious origin, this batch of barbaric beasts will be able to become overlords. Soon after, Su-Yi saw the blood jasper spiritual ginseng. The blood jasper spiritual ginseng was still in the same place. Its spiritual roots were stuck into the soil, and its body was emitting light. The few leaves on its head were also emitting light, and had become even more emerald green. But when Su-Yi thought of his precious spiritual liquid, he went forward to check it out. He realized that the remaining spiritual liquid was only left with a thin layer in the middle of the spiritual liquid pond. However, all in all, the small amount of spirit liquid that remained was still there. The spiritual herbs in the mysterious space were still growing. Radiance filled the air, and a medicinal fragrance assailed his nostrils. Su-Yi checked carefully, and his face lit up with joy. These herbs had long surpassed the normal level and were still growing. If he could sell them all, he would be able to make a fortune. Also, the elixirs in the mysterious space seemed to have advanced and were constantly improving. During this period of time, the elixirs in his space bag had been used up. There were not many elixirs left in the mysterious space. Su-Yi wanted to sell this batch of herbs, but unfortunately, he couldn't do so here. "Sir, when can we go out?" The golden python, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the rest hadn't gone out for a long time. Recently, their cultivation had improved a lot, so they wanted to go out and stretch their bodies. "You still have to cultivate in seclusion for a while. When it's time to go out, I'll take you out." Su-Yi was also helpless. It wasn't time for the golden python and the rest to go out. After checking everywhere, Su-Yi frowned. According to the situation, he didn't know how many primeval stones he would need to restore the original rich energy in the mysterious space. Primeval stones. Su-Yi sighed. It seemed that he would have to find a way to obtain some primeval stones. RX update, X new. Most ZV fast P tick up cool dollar and craftsman. Hashtag net percent only by increasing the density of the energy in this space would one's cultivation speed become faster. Finally, Su-Yi sat cross-legged on the ground. For a while, he didn't know where to take the rest of the Tian Yao school people. Su-Yi could only slowly think about it. However, he could study the ancient Heavenly Fae scripture first. The ancient Heavenly Fae scripture was directly related to the Tian Yao school. Among them, the Savage Scripture, Demon Spirit Insight, and Heavenly Tiger Arts were the cultivation methods of the Wild Bear Tribe, Spirit Ancient Village, and the Tribe of Tiger Hunters. Su-Yi felt that the cultivation methods of the Wild Bear Tribe, Spirit Ancient Village, and the Tribe of Tiger Hunters were different from the cultivation methods of the ancient Heavenly Fae Scripture. The Demon Spirit Insight in the ancient Heavenly Fae Scripture was obviously much more powerful. Therefore, Su-Yi wanted to study it carefully. If he could understand it thoroughly, just as he had discovered, then he could give the cultivation methods to the Spirit Ancient Village and the others. This could be considered as increasing the strength of the Tian Yao school. Chapter 296. To cultivate the Heaven Fae Ancient Scripture, one first needed to cultivate the Savage Scripture, Heavenly Tiger Technique, and demon spirit truth. Suti wanted to first gain insight into the savage scripture, heavenly tiger technique, and demon spirit truth. There were millions of cultivation techniques in the world. Not all cultivation techniques were irreplaceable once cultivated. Some of the powerful legendary cultivation techniques were something that no one would wish to change. And in the process of cultivation, if a warrior's original cultivation technique was of a sufficiently high level, there was naturally no need to change to other cultivation techniques. Even if the other cultivation technique was of a slightly higher level, no warrior would casually change it. Firstly, it required taking a risk. To change a cultivation technique, one needed to disperse their cultivation and start all over again. This was naturally extremely risky. During the process of dispersing one's cultivation, the slightest mistake could result in a cultivation deviation or even a permanent inability to cultivate. However, for warriors who originally cultivated cultivation techniques of a lower level, if they obtained a higher level cultivation technique, they would most likely take the risk to recultivate it. A higher level cultivation technique was not only much stronger, it also allowed one to go further on the path of cultivation. Generally speaking, if one wanted to rely on a low-grade cultivation technique to become an expert, or if one wanted to use a mortal-grade cultivation technique to become a Yuan spirit realm expert, it would require a miracle. Even if one cultivated a general-grade cultivation technique, wanting to become a Yuan emperor realm expert was quite difficult. If one cultivated a royal-grade cultivation technique from the beginning, or even a legendary heaven-grade cultivation technique, under the condition that everything went smoothly, stepping into the Yuan Emperor realm or even higher cultivation levels was just around the corner. Just like those Fey race cubs with high bloodlines. As long as everything went smoothly, breaking through to the Fey Void realm and becoming a member of the Fey race was almost certain. As for those savage beasts with low bloodlines, if they wanted to step into the Fey Void realm or above, they could only hope for a miracle. He wanted to study the Heaven Fey ancient scripture, not because he believed that it was stronger than the primordial chaos supreme technique, nor was it because he wanted to truly cultivate the Heaven Fey ancient scripture. It was not because he wanted to replace the primordial chaos supreme technique with the Heaven Fey ancient scripture. He knew very well that the primordial chaos supreme technique was his foundation. He felt that the primordial chaos supreme technique was even stronger than the powerful Heaven Fey ancient scripture. At the very least, the reason why he was unable to store Yuan Qi back then was because the mysterious space in his mind had secretly absorbed Yuan Qi, rendering his cultivation ineffective. As for the primordial chaos supreme technique, it came from the mysterious space. This was the first time he had heard of a cultivation technique that required the absorption of Yuan Qi. Now, he was somewhat worried. It was a pity that he could not cultivate in it. The Heaven Fey ancient scripture's powerful techniques, especially the phenomenon of myriad Fey, seemed to be tailor-made for him. If he could not cultivate it, it would be a pity if he could not cultivate it. But to choose to give up on the primordial chaos supreme technique and focus on cultivating the Heaven Fey ancient sutra for the phenomenon of 10,000 Fey. Ignoring the risks involved, it was also unlikely. There was primordial chaos supreme techniques, Fey, ancient scripture without cultivating ancient scripture to Fey enlightenments. Phenomenon of heavenly Fey, phenomenon of myriad beasts, phenomenon of creation, heaven, earth, and man. Soon, He began studying the Heaven Fey ancient scripture. He began with the savage scripture and carefully studied it. However, the more he studied it, the more alarmed He became. Just the savage scripture in the Heaven Fey ancient scripture was already extremely powerful. It was even more powerful than he had imagined. The savage scripture focused on strength. Strength could destroy all dharma, and it was all-encompassing. It definitely did not rely on ordinary brute force. It was extremely profound. The heavenly tiger art was based on force. It could rely on force to suppress the ancient times and crush all enemies like crushing dry weeds. The Fey spirit quintessence focused on spirit. It could use the soul to guide the might of myriad beasts. When an attack contained a soul attack, it could borrow the might of myriad beasts. Strangeness and might would coexist as it swept through the area. Although the Fey spirit quintessence focused on cultivating the soul, it could be cultivated by a pure warrior. If a soul controller, alchemist, or blacksmith cultivated it, the effects would be like adding wings to a tiger. Time slowly passed as Su-Yi immersed himself in his studies. The more he studied, the more astounded he was. #starter. His name is Su-Yi. He has already obtained the greatest benefit from the heavenly Fey grotto. He is the new sect master of the Tian Yao school. Is this true? The next day, several senior leaders of the Wild Bear tribe and the tribe of tiger hunters found Elder Shangwan Su early in the morning to inquire about the matter. The only remaining elder of the tribe of tiger hunters was called Elder Hubu. The only remaining elder of the Wild Bear tribe was Elder Xionglu. They were shocked when they learned of the situation from Hu Qi, Xiongzhan, and the others. That's right. Elder Shangwan Su nodded and informed everyone that Su-Yi had entered seclusion, and what Su-Yi had obtained from the heavenly Fey grotto was a cultivation technique left behind by the previous sect master. What kind of cultivation technique is it? Is there only a cultivation technique? Everyone discussed and guessed that it was left behind by the previous sect master of the Tian Yao school. They wondered if there were any rumored Dharma artifacts or sacred artifacts. If there were, they would be precious treasures. We don't know anything yet. We have to wait until he comes out of seclusion to know. Shangwan Su shook his head. He still didn't know what kind of cultivation technique it was, and he didn't know if there were any doctrine artifacts or even sacred artifacts. Is the position of sect master real? Elder Xionglu and Elder Hubu were hesitating. They were the only remaining elders of the tribe of tiger hunters and the Wild Bear tribe. They didn't dare to be careless in this matter. Although they already knew about the Tian Yao school and the new sect master on the day they left, they couldn't be sure that the new sect master was Su-Yi. Moreover, Su-Yi was an outsider. This matter should be true. We are the only remaining members of the Tian Yao school, Elder Shangwan Su said. Elder Shangwan Su said. He had gotten the news from Shangwan Shiwei and Shangwan Yan. This news should not be wrong. Let's make a conclusion after we understand it in detail. In the end, Elder Xionglu and Elder Hubu left to wait for Su-Yi to come out of seclusion. They had many questions to ask Su-Yi. Time passed quickly, and a few days passed in the blink of an eye. Su-Yi, who was in seclusion in the cave, was deeply shocked. He studied the Savage Sutra, Heavenly Tiger Technique, and Demon Spirit Truth for several days. Phew! Suddenly, Su-Yi opened his eyes. There was a flash of light in his eyes, and his face was full of shock. The Heavenly Tiger Technique is the force, and the force is the heavens. The Savage Sutra is the force, and the force is the earth. The Demon Spirit Truth is the spirit, and the spirit is the man. The heavens are the force, and the force originates from the earth. The Heavenly Tiger Technique originates from the heavens. Su-Yi was shocked as he muttered to himself. The Heavenly Fey ancient scripture was extremely profound and could shock the world. Even the Savage Sutra, Demon Spirit Truth, and Heavenly Tiger Technique were all powerful in their own way. Do I really need to disperse my cultivation and change my cultivation? Su-Yi wondered. He always felt that he didn't need to disperse his cultivation to cultivate everything in the Heavenly Fey ancient scripture. Chapter 297. Furthermore, the Heavenly Fey ancient sutra contained the Savage Sutra, Demon Spirit Truth, and Heavenly Tiger Art. To cultivate the Heavenly Fey ancient sutra, one had to cultivate the Savage Sutra, Demon Spirit Truth, and Heavenly Tiger Art simultaneously. The Heavenly Fey ancient sutra tempted Su-Yi in an indescribable way, to the point that Su-Yi was tempted. Furthermore, the Primordial Chaos Supreme Technique was very mysterious. This made Su-Yi unable to resist the temptation. He wanted to give it a try without dispersing his cultivation. After pondering for a while, Su-Yi ultimately could not resist the temptation of the heavenly, Fey, ancient sutra and wanted to give it a try. Su-yi first attempted the Savage Sutra. The Savage Sutra focused on strength and had extremely harsh requirements for the body. It needed to temper one's body, but Su-yi had already cultivated the first level of the primordial chaos Fey body, the diamond body. He could give it a try. Without further ado, Su-yi took the first step and began cultivating the Savage Sutra. He circulated the cultivation technique and condensed a hand seal. He began attempting to cultivate the cultivation technique that he had been studying for a long time. L3/boom. It was unknown when it began, but Su-yi's body emitted a rumbling sound. There was a dazzling light that shimmered as an ancient suppressive force emanated in every direction. However, none of this leaked out of the mysterious space. Roar. 3 days later, Su-yi sat cross-legged. His body shimmered as an ancient beastly roar seemed to emanate from his body. Chi! Chi! At this moment, Su-yi's eyes opened at the same time. His eyes shone brightly as a vortex of light gushed out. A terrifying aura filled with an ancient aura, as if it could suppress everything in all directions, spread out towards this space. I've succeeded in cultivating it. His eyes were bright and did not calm down for a long time. Su-yi was somewhat in a daze, as though he was in disbelief. But at that moment, Su-yi could clearly sense that he had definitely succeeded in cultivating the Savage Sutra. Following that, Su-yi deliberately continued powering the Savage Sutra. The results were the same, proving that he had truly cultivated the Savage Sutra. Ah, what a good person! Heaven is on his side. Su-yi smiled. He was overjoyed. His luck was not bad. He never thought that he would be able to cultivate this savage scripture. Continue. Following which, Su-yi continued to cultivate. Since the savage scripture could be successfully cultivated without dispersing, the heavenly tiger arts and demon spirit insight could naturally be cultivated as well. Su-yi formed a hand seal and circulated the heavenly tiger technique in his mind. He continued to immerse himself in cultivating the heavenly tiger technique. After the same 3 days, Su-yi's tightly closed eyes opened once again. A ray of light flashed in the depths of his eyes. In an instant, the aura around his body surged like the rising and falling of the waves. It was a terrifying aura. Roar! At that moment, it was as though there was a huge shadow of a heavenly tiger enveloping Su-yi. It roared and a valiant aura surged around Su-yi's body. His hair fluttered in the wind, and a thunderous sound rang out. It was deafening and resplendent. This was the might of the heavenly tiger technique. If there were people from the tribe of tiger hunters present, they would probably be astonished. At that moment, the might of the heavenly tiger technique on Su-yi's body was many times stronger than the heavenly tiger technique that they had cultivated. Fire Shadow Fist. Suddenly, Su-yi shouted in a low voice. Scorching hot fire chi burst out from his body and condensed into a martial skill. A terrifying chi burst out from his fist. It was as if his fist was blooming with a dazzling fiery light. A violent chi burst out from his fist towards the empty space in front of him. Boom! As Su-yi's fist landed, a blazing and ferocious force exploded in front of him. The force on Su-yi's fist was visible to the naked eye. It was like layers of fire shadows that struck down with an earth-shattering force. It shattered the spatial ripples, and a blazing fire wave swept out like a shock wave. Not far away, the golden python, white jade mystic bird, scarlet fire demonic marten, and the others were alarmed. Their eyes were filled with shock as they felt the terrifying might of the fist. Success! Su-yi was pleasantly surprised. He deliberately activated the Fire Shadow Fist of the Heavenly Tiger technique to confirm that he had indeed cultivated the Heavenly Tiger technique. How could Su-yi let go of the Demon Spirit insight after cultivating the Savage Scripture and Heavenly Tiger technique at the same time? If he could cultivate the Savage Scripture, Heavenly Tiger technique, and Demon Spirit insight, he could cultivate the Heavenly Fey Ancient Scripture. The Savage Scripture, Demon Spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique were the foundation of the heavenly Fey ancient scripture. Su-yi could not reject the techniques in the heavenly Fey ancient scripture. The demon spirit insight focused on spirit. In terms of cultivation, it was slightly more complicated than the savage scripture and heavenly tiger technique. After all, the demon spirit insight was related to the power of the soul. However, Su-yi was very fast. Be it the savage scripture or heavenly tiger technique, or even the demon spirit insight, he could cultivate them all with the help of the primordial chaos supreme technique. In just 5 days, a vast, ancient, ethereal aura emanated from Su-yi's body. An aura with a slight, demonic aura fluctuated. His eyes were like lightning, causing anyone who looked at him to feel their heart palpitate. Success. After exhaling a turbid breath, Su-yi had a smile on his face. He had also successfully cultivated the demon spirit insight. According to the heavenly Fey ancient scripture, if one could cultivate the heavenly Fey ancient scripture and attain the large success of the heavenly Fey phenomenon, it would be enough to shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. At that moment, the foundation of the heavenly Fey ancient scripture had been set. Su-yi was looking forward to it. How could Su-yi not be tempted by a cultivation technique that could shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep? From all the signs, the heavenly Fey ancient scripture was definitely powerful and extremely terrifying. However, Su-yi was shocked and astonished to be able to cultivate the Heaven Fey ancient sutras Savage Sutra Kama, Heavenly Tiger Art, and Demon Spirit Truth so quickly. After careful thought, Su-yi guessed that it had a lot to do with the primordial chaos supreme technique. The savage scripture was strength, the heavenly tiger technique was momentum, and the demon spirit insight was spirit. In other words, the cultivation of the heavenly Fey ancient scripture not only required the cultivation of the body and tempering of the body, but also the cultivation of the soul. However, the primordial chaos supreme technique had all of this. In the primordial chaos supreme technique, the diamond body was a lot harsher and stronger than the savage scripture's body tempering. As for the demon spirit insight's tempering of the soul, the second level of the primordial chaos Fey body, the heavenly essence Fey soul, specialized in tempering the soul. The primordial chaos supreme technique had all of the harsh conditions in the heavenly Fey ancient scripture. Su-yi guessed that the reason why he could cultivate the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique so quickly was related to the primordial chaos supreme technique. Kane-chi is formless and formless. It cannot be seen, heard, or fought for. It comes from a void. Myriad beasts appear illusory when they are corporeal, corporeal when they are corporeal, corporeal when they are corporeal. The heavenly Fey phenomenon will shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. Su-yi muttered softly. His eyes were still filled with shock. The heavenly Fey phenomenon. It was unknown how much it would shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. However, Su-yi did not plan on continuing his cultivation. His seclusion had taken a lot longer than expected. Worried about the situation outside, Su-yi planned on leaving seclusion to take a look before making a decision. From the heavenly Fey ancient scripture, it seemed that even if he cultivated the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger technique, it would be a lot more difficult to cultivate the complete heavenly Fey ancient scripture. Chapter 298. After packing up, Su-yi rejected Debao and Xiaoling's request to go out with him. He instructed the Golden Python and the others to continue their seclusion in the mysterious space before leaving. Su-yi came out of seclusion. However, when he returned to the Spirit Ancient Village, he found it strange that there was only a group of young children. Brother Su-yi, the adults have gone out to find a way to deal with the savage beasts. A young child informed Su-yi that the others had gone to find a way to deal with the savage beasts. Savage beasts. Hearing this, Su-yi frowned. Suddenly, Su-yi saw Su Tianke sneaking out of the house. Su Tianke. Su-yi stopped Su Tianke. He felt that Su Tianke was up to no good. Are you out of seclusion? Something big happened here. Su Tianke smiled sheepishly at Su Yi's call. He shook his head and wobbled his way to Su Yi with his tail sticking close to him. I'm asking you, what are you looking for? Su Yi looked at Su Tianke. This bald chicken couldn't hide anything. He asked, did you secretly eat something? Secretly? What could I possibly eat? The spiritual herbs and 100 fruit wine must be with Shangwan Su. Su Tianke glared at Su Yu fiercely. However, Su Tianke realized that he had let the cat out of the bag. He lowered his head and smiled at Su Yi. I'm doing this for the good of the villagers. If those savage beasts come in, we can't let the 100 fruit wine and spiritual herbs be spoiled by them. Su Yi could tell that Su Tianke was looking for the 100 fruit wine and spiritual herbs. What savage beasts? What's going on? Su Yi asked. It seemed that something big had happened. Su Yi then learned from Su Tianke that a few days ago, a savage beast had discovered the people in this place and trespassed. It was scared off by Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Elder Hubu. Over the past few days, more and more barbaric beasts had gathered and blocked the exit. Those barbaric beasts want to capture all of them in one fell swoop. They are waiting for experts to arrive. Su Tianke said to Su Yi in a serious tone, let's think of a way to retreat first. We need to leave as far as we can. If we're late, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. I'll go check on the situation first. Su Yi frowned and disappeared from where he stood. After stepping into the first level of the demon spirit realm, the speed of Su Yi's Skyward Hunter transformation steps increased by another level. Although Su Yi had only tried to cultivate the savage scripture, demon spirit insight, and heavenly tiger art in the past few days, he still felt that he had made some progress. So fast. Looking at Su Yi's back, Su Tianke's eyes flashed with surprise. At the entrance of the valley, clouds were everywhere. At this moment, the hunting tiger tribe, the barbarian bear tribe, and the spirit ancient village, who possessed fighting strength, were all prepared. Their expressions were grave as they gathered together. Oh, outside the valley, within the clouds, huge beasts could be vaguely seen. The roars of beasts could be heard constantly. In the sky, flying barbaric beasts could be seen circling around with sharp eyes. The three elders, Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hubu, had solemn expressions on their faces. Behind them, Shangwan Shui, Shangwan Yin, Xiong Zhan, Hu Qi, Xiong Lai, and the rest of the younger generation also had uneasy expressions on their faces. Elder, what should we do now? Shangwan Rock asked. He clenched his sword tightly and looked at the barbaric beasts that appeared from time to time. He was ready to attack at any time. Is the heavens going to destroy our Tian Yao school? Shangwan Su sighed. So many savage beasts had suddenly appeared. Even if they could escape, the remaining descendants of the heavenly demon sect who had taken refuge here were mostly young children. There was no way they could escape, and they had nowhere to go. 8. Let's go. Let's kill our way out. Let's go as far as we can. If this continues, there will be more and more barbaric beasts. I'm afraid none of us will be able to escape. Elder Xiong Lu said. There were more and more barbaric beasts outside. If this continued, it would be even more difficult to kill their way out. So what if we kill our way out? Where can we go? Elder Hubu shook his head. So what if some of them managed to escape? This was the barbaric demon forest. There was nowhere else to go. Brother Su Yi. Someone noticed Su Yi, who was rushing over. The crowd was in an uproar. Master. The barbaric spectral heavenly leopard charged out from the front and stopped in front of Su Yi. Its ferocious eyes were as bright as the moon, and its blade-like scales glowed with a profound light. It had left with this group of people back then and had been preserved. Brother Su Yi, have you come out of seclusion? Shangwan Rock, Shangwan Yi, and Shangwan Xiu all gathered around with serious expressions. What's the situation now? When Su Yi reached the exit, he could already sense the dense aura of demonic beasts in front of him. There were flying demonic beasts circling in the air. There were many experts amongst these demonic beasts. As Su Yi swept his gaze across the area, he guessed that these savage beasts were probably afraid of Shangwan Su and the other two elders' auras. Perhaps they were waiting for stronger savage beasts to appear. Once a barbaric beast expert came, they would probably barge in. There are more and more barbaric beasts. The three elders have already sensed the aura of a demon illusionary realm barbaric beast expert. A young girl stepped forward. Her black hair was originally tied into a beautiful bun, and her face was as delicate as a silver plate. She wore a light yellow robe with a very low neckline, and a light yellow brocade wrapped around her chest, outlining her towering curves. She had a slender waist and long legs and a graceful figure. It was Shangwan Shiwei. What should we do now? When Xiong Zhan, Xiong Lai, Hu Qi, and the rest saw Su Yi, they immediately stepped forward from the side of their elders. They had seen with their own eyes how Su Yi killed the profound Origin Realm Python. Perhaps he had a solution. What do these barbaric beasts want? Su Yi asked. With so many barbaric beasts gathering, they must be up to something. This is the barbaric demon forest, the territory of the barbaric beasts. The demon race and humans are like fire and water. They just want to devour us. Shangwan Rock said, although the barbaric beasts on the Demon Luo Mountain had a subtle relationship with them, they knew that under normal circumstances, humans and barbaric beasts were like fire and water. Su Yi stepped forward and raised his eyebrows as he looked at the dense group of beasts in front of him. If this group of barbaric beasts appeared in the outside world, they would probably be hunted down by human warriors for no reason. 3 elders. Su Yi immediately greeted the 3 elders. Because of the presence of the 3 remaining elders of the Tian Yao school, the barbaric beasts lingered outside and did not dare to barge in. The situation is very serious. Chapter 299. After knowing that Su Yi was the new sect leader of Tian Yao school, Shangwan Su and the others were still hesitant. However, they did not dare to be careless anymore. Their attitudes were subtle. Roar! Roar! YJ Most Carotene New Chapter. Chapter 6 on you suddenly. The roars of beasts outside the gorge were like thunder, rising and falling one after another like a sudden clap of thunder, and waves of ferocious auras swept over and dispersed the clouds and mist. Oh no, those beasts are about to attack. Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu's expressions changed. Their auras surged, and the air around them seemed to have frozen. Swoosh, one by one, the figures unsheathed their weapons. They were ready for battle, and their faces were tense. Roar! The barbaric heavenly leopard roared in a deep voice. It slowly walked to Su Yi's side and stood beside Su Yi. It wanted to protect its master. Finally, it can't take it anymore. Su Tianke had followed them and stood on the back of the barbaric heavenly leopard. His little head was staring straight ahead. Su Yi looked at the entrance in front. In his eyes, the clouds were moving and the ground was trembling. A large group of savage beasts was slowly approaching. Squeak! Squeaks pierced through the clouds in the sky. Many savage beasts spread their wings and hovered at a low altitude. At the center was a ferocious bird that had a wingspan of over 30 meters that seemed like dark clouds. Its entire body wasn't covered in feathers, but black scales that were like blades and suffused with a cold light. Its head was like a lizard's, and it spat out a scarlet red tongue. Black nether flying lizard. Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu's expressions were solemn. This was a black nether flying lizard. Its aura was obviously at the second level of the Demon Void stage. It was much stronger than the first level of the Origin Void stage. Such a black nether flying lizard was already difficult for the 3 of them to deal with even if they worked together. Be careful. The young men below formed a defensive formation. They held their weapons tightly, guarding against the savage beast that would swoop down at any time. Roar! The roars of the beasts were deafening. There were no less than 200 barbaric demonic beasts in front of them. Their gigantic beasts covered the entire area, and their ferocious auras were like the tides. At the very front was an enormous black-colored ferocious beast that was over 10 m in size. Its entire body was pitch black, and its sparse long hair stood erect like steel needles. Its entire body emitted a faint black light, and it had sharp fangs and a mouth like a pig or a wolf. Its aura was ferocious. Mythical black beast. Elder Xiong Lu sucked in a breath of cold air. This was a black nightmare beast. It was rare, but it was extremely ferocious. The mythical black beast in front of him had also reached the illusory beast stage. Judging from its aura, it wasn't any weaker than the dark nether flying lizard. Behind the mythical black beast, there were several hundred barbaric beasts. Many of them were in the demon true realm, and even more of them were in the demon spirit realm. The three elders, Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu, looked extremely solemn. It was impossible for them to fend off such a group of barbaric beasts. Look, isn't that? When a mythical black beast appeared, Shangwan Rock, Xiong Zhan, Hu Qi, and the others, who looked solemn and tense, were instantly moved. They couldn't help but look at Su Yi. Su Yi also saw the black, ferocious beast and recognized it at a glance. Previously, when he still had the power of the mysterious space, he had killed a demon illusory beast stage python. This mythical black beast was also present. It was frightened and immediately fled. He didn't expect to see it again. So many humans. I can eat my fill today. The mythical black beast roared and spoke in human language. Its murderous intent filled the air. Suddenly, the mythical black beast's expression changed. A young man walked out from the group of humans in front of it. He had a sword on his back, and he was skinny and tall. He slowly walked towards the mythical black beast. "It's you?" Upon seeing this young man, the mythical black beast immediately fell silent, and an instinctive look of fear appeared in its eyes. How could it forget such a human young man? It had seen with its own eyes how the python, which was more powerful than it, was brutally killed. It was too horrible to look at. Luckily, it escaped quickly. Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hu Bu were about to stop Su Yi when they saw him walk out. However, when they saw the mythical black beast's abnormal reaction, they were shocked. The dark abyss flying lizard in the air was also shocked. It looked down with a cold gaze. When Su Yi saw the mythical black beast and felt its reaction, he immediately turned his gaze. It seemed like the mythical black beast remembered him but didn't know about his situation. It was instinctively afraid of him. Perhaps he could take a gamble today. "Evil creature, do you want to die?" Su Yi took a step forward and activated the Supreme Origin technique. A majestic aura filled the air as Su Yi scolded the mythical black beast. Oh, when Su Yi activated the Supreme Origin technique, the barbaric demonic beasts present couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with fear. The ferocious bird in the air also trembled with fear. The mythical black beast couldn't help but take 2 steps back. It was shocked. It didn't expect a human to be here. It still had lingering fears after seeing the python. "What? Are you still not going to scram? Do you want me to kill you?" Su Yi's eyes were red as he stared at the mythical black beast. It seemed like the mythical black beast was the leader of this group of barbaric demonic beasts. If he could intimidate the mythical black beast, they might be able to escape today. The mythical black beast's eyes flickered. The aura of the Origin Void realm surged, but it was instinctively afraid at this moment. "Black beast, why aren't you attacking? Are you disobeying my order?" The dark abyss flying lizard in the air spoke in human language. It also sensed the abnormal aura of the human young man. The aura of the mythical void realm fluctuated. That majestic and destructive aura made the mythical black beast's hair stand. Therefore, it didn't dare to act rashly. If you want to attack, do it yourself. The mythical black beast glared at the dark abyss flying lizard. It didn't dare to attack. This young man was very mysterious. However, it didn't dare to retreat either. This was an order from the Demon King. Hearing the mythical black beast's words, the dark abyss flying lizard became even more hesitant. This mythical black beast must know something. The aura of the human young man was very mysterious and strange. The mythical black beast must be afraid of something. Therefore, it didn't dare to attack. Xiong Lu, Shangwan Su, and Hu Bu looked at each other. They couldn't understand why a mythical black beast at the mythical void realm would be so afraid of Su Yi. Boom! But then, 3 auras of the Origin Void realm surged from Xiong Lu, Shangwan Su, and Hu Bu. Three figures soared into the air. The three auras of the origin void realm were like a storm, causing the void to rumble. The three elders wanted to help Su, Yi, and intimidate this group of barbaric demonic beasts. Sensing the auras of the three elders, the dark abyss, flying lizard, and the mythical black beast were secretly filled with murderous intent. However, the one who looked the most fearful was Su Yi. Human, I can sense that your aura is not simple. However, I would like to see where you came from. Chapter 300. Upon hearing that, Xiong Lu, Shangwan Su, and Hubu locked onto the dark nether flying lizard that was hovering in the air. The three elders knew Su Yi's strength. It was impossible for him to be a match for the dark nether flying lizard. What? You want to stop me? What a joke. Sensing the target of Shangwan Su and the other two elders, the black abyss flying lizard did not place them in its eyes. A black light flashed on its body as its enormous body flapped its wings and dived towards Su Yi. How dare you? Elder Shangwan Su shouted as he leaped into the air. A powerful aura fluctuated as a sword appeared in his hand, radiating with light. This sword was not simple. It was not an ordinary sword. It emitted a powerful aura, and the sword radiance engulfed the dark nether flying lizard. Streaks of sword radiance cut through the air. You overestimate yourself. The dark nether flying lizard opened its mouth, and its scarlet tongue shot out like a flash of lightning. Like a trident, it collided directly with Elder Shangwan Xiu's sword radiance. Whoosh! When the two collided, a terrifying force exploded. The sword radiance only held on for a moment before it began to shatter. The latter's scarlet tongue was like a dazzling bolt of lightning, directly entangling Elder Shangwan Su's sword. It entangled the sword, and a huge force swept out. Elder Shangwan Su's expression changed. His eyes shrunk, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The sword in his hand fell from his hand, and his body was pushed back in the air. Watch out! Elder Xiong Lu and Elder Hubu's expressions changed. Both of them flew into the air at the same time. Elder Hubu's ancient aura was intimidating. He struck out with his palm, and a tiger's shadow roared in front of his palm. Light surged. Elder Xiong Lu's aura was not below Elder Hubu's. His aura was ferocious. Light exploded, and his fist fell like a meteor. The two elders attacked the dark nether flying lizard from the left and right. Oomph! The dark nether flying lizard snorted coldly. It spread its wings, and a black light soared into the sky. The black light around its body was deep and resplendent. Its wings were like two blades of light that swept across. Boom! With such a collision, the low-altitude area seemed to be on the verge of exploding. The storm of energy swept through the canyon, shocking everyone in the Tian Yao school who was present. Walala! Gravel and broken wood flew all over the place. The strong wind was like a storm. Sand and stones flew everywhere. Dust filled the sky. The entire canyon seemed to be shaking. The Origin Void Stage and the Demon Void Stage are so powerful. The students of the Tian Yao school side, the cultivation of the original Void Realm and the Monster Void Realm was so powerful. Pucci, but in the next moment, Xiong Lu and Hu Bu were blasted back by the shockwave, with blood dripping from the corners of their mouths. Su Yi's gaze was fixed on the sky. From the way the three elders attacked, he could sense that they had used the demon spirit insight, heavenly tiger art, and savage scripture. Regardless of whether it was the demonic spirit insight, heavenly tiger arts, or the savage scripture, all of them had the power and effect of suppressing barbaric demonic beasts. However, the dark nether flying lizard seemed to be much stronger than the three elders, so it wasn't affected much. There seems to be something lacking. At this moment, Su Yi had already cultivated the savage scripture, demon spirit truth, and heavenly tiger technique. From the three elders, he could feel that the cultivation techniques that the three elders cultivated seemed to be somewhat lacking compared to the real savage scripture. Otherwise, they would be more powerful and would not be like this. Little blackbird, if I recover my strength, you won't even be qualified to be my follower. Su Tianke raised his eyebrows on the barbaric heavenly leopard. However, he didn't charge forward. Instead, he muttered unhappily, "You overestimate yourself." The dark nether flying lizard said coldly. It didn't even look at the three elders. It circled in the air and dived down towards Su Yi again. "Watch out!" The three elders were shocked. It was difficult for them to rescue Su Yi. Moreover, they were injured in one move. It was difficult for them to defeat the dark nether flying lizard. "Wait!" At this moment, Su Yi shouted. Seeing the dark nether flying lizard diving down, he didn't retreat. Instead, he took out an item from his arms. The item was small, but it was exceptionally bright. It shone brightly. It was a strand of red hair. It was filled with the power of a beast. The dark abyss flying lizard's eyes were filled with ferocity as it swooped down. When it suddenly saw the bright red mane in Su Yi's hand, its gaze changed greatly, and it spread its wings to regain its balance. The huge body of the dark nether flying lizard was almost right in front of Su Yi. Its pair of fierce eyes were dazzling and seemed to be the size of Su Yi's body. It was incomparably terrifying. With an astonished expression, it asked, "Kid, where did you get this thing?" A ferocious aura rushed towards him. The aura was violent and ferocious. Su Yi almost staggered back. The primordial chi in his body surged. Primordial chi gushed out from the soles of his feet. Only then did he stabilize his body. "What's going on?" Elder Shangguan, Su, and the others, whose expressions had changed drastically, immediately became astonished when they saw this scene. The disciples of Tian Yao School were also shocked. Their hearts were in their throats. "That's Shangguan Rock, Shangguan Shiwei," and the others recognized the item in Su Yi's hand. It was left behind by the azure water gold beast cub that Su Yi had saved. "I made the right bet." Looking at the dark nether flying lizard that was almost within reach, Su Yi heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had made the right bet. Otherwise, with his current strength, he wouldn't have been able to withstand a single blow from the dark nether flying lizard. This item belonged to Qi Nu. It said that if I were to encounter any disturbances here, I should take it out. The other party wouldn't dare to offend me again. Su Yi probed as he looked at the dark nether flying lizard's expression. This item was indeed left behind by Qi Nu, the azure water gold beast that Su Yi had unintentionally helped not long ago. It was just that Qi Nu's words were within the vicinity. If he took out this item and said its name, it would at least give him some face. At this moment, Su Yi changed his words slightly. He wanted to see if he could intimidate the dark nether flying lizard. Although Qi Nu was only in the demon spirit realm, the bloodline of the azure water gold beast was much stronger than that of the dark nether flying lizard. Perhaps Qi Nu had a powerful force behind him that could intimidate the dark nether flying lizard. Su Yi guessed that Qi Nu's words before he left were enough to prove that Qi Nu had a certain status in the vicinity. Qi Nu, hearing Su Yi's words, the dark nether flying lizard's expression changed drastically. "What's your relationship with Qi Nu?" Y6C0 Original Carrot, Chapter 9, Section P above. Hearing Su Yi's words, the dark nether flying lizard's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as it stared at Su Yi with fear. "Friend," Su Yi said. From a change in the dark nether flying lizard's expression, he guessed that this item was indeed useful. It seemed like Qi Nu had a high status in the vicinity. "You're lying. How could young Master Qi Nu be friends with a human like you?" Chapter 301. Young Master. P.F. Su Yi's eyes flickered. It seemed that Qi Nu really had a high status, that the dark nether flying lizard was wary of him. Not long ago, Qi Nu was surrounded by a golden-patterned ancient scorpion. I happened to pass by and helped Qi Nu. Su Yi looked straight at the dark nether flying lizard, his eyes flashing red with power. The black abyss flying lizard's expression changed. It knew about this matter. The news of the scarlet pheasant being ambushed by the golden-patterned ancient scorpion lord had already spread. How could it not know that the demon king was truly furious? The dark nether flying lizard looked at the young man in front of it and felt that it was strange. It did not know why, but this human youth gave it an invisible pressure. The longer she faced him, the greater the invisible pressure became. Gradually, it gave her the illusion that the person in front of her was not a human youth, but a demon emperor. Young Master was indeed attacked by the golden-patterned ancient scorpion a few days ago and was injured. The black mythical beast reminded the dark nether flying lizard. The dark nether flying lizard stared at Su-Yi with a murderous look. Human young man, you may not know this, but the one who wants you humans is the Demon King. Even if you're related to the young master, it's useless. Moreover, whether you know the young master or where the young master's token came from is still unknown. The black nether-flying lizard said to Su-Yi. Demon King. Su-Yi's eyes darkened. He had met a group of demon kings in the barbaric demon forest, and each of them was extremely powerful. So what if you were a demon king? On the back of the barbaric heavenly leopard, Su-Tianke raised his head and said unhappily, Who are you? The dark nether-flying lizard, the black mythical beast, and the other barbaric demonic beasts looked at Su-Tianke in shock. A small bald chicken could speak human language. Could it be that he was at the demon void realm? You are not qualified to know who I am. Get out of here if you know what's good for you. Su-Tianke raised his head and put his wings on his waist. He looked quite imposing. However, Su-Tiang's current appearance was indeed laughable, and one would completely overlook his aura. I don't care who you are. If you mix with humans, you are an enemy. The dark nether-flying lizard stared down at Su-Tianke. It seemed to be able to sense the unusual aura from Su-Tianke, which made it somewhat fearful. It did not immediately make a move. Why is the Demon Emperor looking for us? Su-Yi gestured for Su-Tianke to stop messing things up. If the dark nether-flying lizards were to attack, the consequences would be unimaginable. How would we know what the Demon Emperor is thinking? We're just following orders. The dark abyss flying lizard said. The mythical black beast hesitated momentarily before speaking to Su-Yi from afar. Human, the demon sovereign has issued an order, saying that there might be humans in the vicinity who have found all of you. He wants us to bring all of you back. Su-Yi frowned. This place was very secluded. Generations of the spirit ancient village, the wild bear tribe, and the tribe of tiger hunters had taken care of this place. However, none of the beasts had discovered this place. This time, the beasts had found all of them so quickly after they had arrived. Although it was possible that hundreds of people had arrived and would have attracted the attention of the beasts, it had happened too quickly. Everyone had been very careful when they had entered. However, they now understood that the Demon Emperor had issued an order to search for humans. No wonder they had been discovered. Human, I don't care what relationship you have with young Master Chi-Nu. You have to come with us today. Otherwise, I won't be polite. The dark nether-flying lizard stared at Su-Yi fiercely. However, its attitude towards Su-Yi was obviously much more polite. How arrogant. Su-Tianke was unconvinced and was about to say something. Su-Yi waved his hand to stop Su-Tianke. He looked at the dark nether-flying lizard and said, How about I accompany you back to meet the Demon Emperor alone? Everyone was shocked when they heard Su-Yi's words. Wouldn't it be a one-way trip if they went to meet the Demon Emperor alone? The dark nether-flying lizard and the black mythical beast were also surprised. They looked at Su-Yi strangely. You don't know why the Demon Emperor is looking for us. If we fight, both of us will suffer great losses. I guarantee that you won't be able to gain any advantage. Su-Yi pretended to be calm. However, the dark nether-flying lizard said, I am indeed a friend of your young Master Chi-Nu. Bring me back, and I will go with you. Otherwise, both of us will suffer great losses. If anything happens, the Demon Emperor won't blame you. I will bear all the responsibility. The dark nether-flying lizard raised its eyebrows. It had indeed sensed an invisible aura from this young man that made it feel uneasy. At this moment, this young man's expression didn't change at all. Coupled with the black mythical beast's nervousness, the dark nether-flying lizard was a little afraid. Could this young man really be a terrifying human expert? This is not a bad idea. We can report back to the Demon Emperor and find out the relationship between you and young Master Chi-Nu, the black mythical beast said. This was undoubtedly the best outcome. It was afraid of the young man in front of it. If they really fought, it would have lingering fears. Last time, it had personally witnessed how terrifying this young man was. All right, it won't take much time anyway. However, even if you follow us back, no one will be able to leave. Otherwise, we will kill without mercy. The dark nether flying lizard nodded. However, it was afraid that this was a trick of the humans. It then ordered the black mythical beast and the other barbaric beasts to continue blocking the exit. No one was allowed to leave. All right, the black mythical beast nodded. Anyway, it didn't want to provoke this young man. If it brought him back, it wouldn't know the Demon Emperor's attitude. If it stayed here, it would have nothing to do with this young man. Brother Su-yi, are you really going to go there alone? Shangwan Rock, Xiongzhan, Hu Qi, and the others surrounded him. They were very worried and nervous. Su-yi was going to meet the Demon Emperor alone. No one knew if he was dead or alive. They were afraid that he would be in danger. No worries, I have my own plans. Su-yi smiled faintly and pretended to be calm. In his heart, Su-yi was also very nervous. However, he had no other choice. If this stalemate continued, the dark nether flying lizard would really attack. The disciples of the Tian Yao school would not be able to resist it, and the three elders would not be able to stop it. As for the mysterious energy in his mysterious space and the energy in the broken sword, he didn't know if they would be so lucky as to appear again. Perhaps the energy in the mysterious space and the broken sword was limited and had been completely exhausted. As for meeting the Demon Emperor, Su-yi also wanted to know why the Demon Emperor was looking for everyone. He guessed that he had helped Qinu a lot. Judging from Qinu's attitude, if he could meet Qinu and get help from Qinu, it would be better than the current situation. Elders, may I have a word with you? After that, Su-yi signaled Shangwan Su and the other two elders to go to the side. He lowered his voice and said, "If I don't return after a long time, then..." Su-yi didn't say it clearly. The dark nether flying lizard and the black mythical beast were very powerful. No matter how soft a voice was, it wouldn't be able to escape their ears. He believed that the three elders would understand. Chapter 302. You have to be careful. Shangwan Shiwei was very nervous. She looked solemn and worried about Su-yi. Su-yi nodded and smiled. Most, new 4, 8 on square root T, I'll go with you. Seeing that Su-yi wanted to go alone, Su Tianke gritted his teeth and finally decided to go with Su-yi. You can stay here. Maybe you can help. Su-yi shook his head. He knew that Su Tianke was a mysterious guy. He didn't want Su Tianke to take the risk when he went to see Demon King Jianna. You're the one who needs help the most. Maybe I can scare that Demon King. Su Tianke made up his mind. In the end, Su-yi could only nod and go with Su Tianke. Lead the way, Su-yi said to the dark nether flying lizard and asked it to lead the way. You can't fly? When the dark nether flying lizard flapped its wings to lead the way and found that Su-yi and Su Tianke were walking leisurely behind, it couldn't stay calm. To be honest, I haven't reached the primordial void realm yet. Su-yi didn't hide it. He couldn't fly before reaching the primordial void realm. Only those who had reached the primordial void realm had the ability to fly. The dark nether flying lizard was speechless. If it walked back to see the Demon King, it didn't know how long it would take. Come on up. You better be a friend of young Master Qinu otherwise. I'll make you beg for death. In the end, the dark nether flying lizard had to let Su-yi and Su Tianke get on its back. It was a primordial void realm cultivator, and it was unwilling to become a mount. It would never let a human ride on its back. If this human wasn't a friend of young Master Qinu, it wouldn't tolerate it. After passing through the mountains, there were continuous mountain ranges and undulating forests below. In the air ahead, there were more flying savage beasts circling in the void. From time to time, a ferocious aura would soar into the sky. There were many powerful barbaric beasts present. The continuous mountains towered into the clouds, majestic and majestic. There were waterfalls pouring down in torrents, winding rivers, and clouds pervading the air. It was incomparably magnificent, like an ink landscape painting. Oh, within the forest, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard. Many powerful demonic beasts appeared, radiating with light. They were all cultivating on the mountaintops, and powerful auras emanated from them. Not far away, there was a place where the energy of heaven and earth was rich. There was a medicinal fragrance there. It seemed that there were some rare and ancient elixirs. So this is the barbaric demon forest. So he was very shocked. Although he had been in the savage demon forest for a period of time, this was indeed the first time he faced the savage demon forest in such a way. "We're almost there," the dark nether-flying lizard said. He followed the black nether-flying lizard's words and looked ahead. He was immediately shocked. He saw an ancient city sitting on a huge mountain surrounded by clouds, as if it was being held up in the air. Upon closer inspection, he realized that it was a huge city built on top of a mountain. It was completely built with huge rocks, and it was incomparably majestic. This huge city was not built on top of a mountain. Instead, it was surrounded by continuous city walls that surrounded many mountains. How awe-inspiring it was! A wide stone path extended from the huge city to the foot of the mountain. There were many demonic beasts standing guard on both sides of the path. However, Su-Yi and Su-Tian-Ke rode on the dark nether-flying lizard and went directly to the huge city. They only landed when they reached the city gate. Facing this ancient giant city, Su-Yi was even more astonished. This giant city was so majestic that it was shocking. Standing under the towering city walls, he felt like an ant. Above the city gate, there were 3 big words Kanglan City engraved on a huge rock. It was incomparably bold and powerful. "Is this the place where the Demon King lives?" Su-Yi was shocked. The place where the Demon King lived was not as prosperous as a big human city. However, this majestic place was not something that a big human city could compare to. The city gate was guarded by powerful demonic beasts. It was not easy to enter the city. The dark nether-flying lizard seemed to be of high status. With it leading the way, the journey was smooth. Inside Kanglan City, there are not many buildings. Instead, there were beautiful forests and caves. However, there were also many majestic palaces that were built with huge rocks. In the end, Su-Yi was brought into a huge hall by the dark nether-flying lizard. There were powerful demonic beasts standing guard around. The atmosphere was tense and solemn. All the demonic beasts were staring at Su-Yi fiercely. The dark nether-flying lizard was going to report to the Demon King and warn Su-Yi and Su-Tian-Ke not to run around. Otherwise, they would have to bear the consequences. So big, so shocking. After the dark nether-flying lizard left, Su-Yi looked around the hall. He was shocked by what he saw along the way. He did not expect the Demon King's residence to be so extravagant. He was indeed a legendary demonic beast. It's not even worth mentioning. A place like this is much better than the place where I used to store all sorts of stuff in my cave abode. Su-Tian-Ke did not care. He leaned lazily against a huge stone pillar in the hall. The hall was empty. There was not even a chair. Su-Tian-Ke could not find a place to rest. "You're just bragging." He was already used to Su-Tian's tone. Although Su-Tian-Ke seemed to be extraordinary every time, especially when he escaped with hundreds of Tian Yao School's disciples, he did not really believe that this guy was the legendary peacock. What kind of existence was the peacock? However, looking at Su-Tian's current appearance, the difference was too great. "Are you the human who saved Chi-Nu?" Suddenly, when such a voice spread out, a figure appeared out of thin air in the hall without a sound. Such a figure had a stalwart figure, crimson-red eyes, and clear and deep facial features. Especially that pair of dark and deep crimson-red eyes. They revealed the aura of a king that shook the world. And he wore a crimson gold robe, causing him to reveal an extraordinary heroic bearing. This person looked like he was less than 50 years old. His body exuded the aura of a king. His deep eyes gave people a sense of oppression. When this figure appeared, Su-Yi suddenly felt the vitality in his body solidify. His heart trembled inexplicably. It was as if the air around him had become tense. That gaze seemed to be able to see through him. When this person appeared, Su Tiang's lazy eyes turned. There was a flicker of light in them. There's a demonic aura, a demonic beast expert. It's a demon king. This was not the first time Su Yi had felt this aura. The pressure was accompanied by a demonic aura. This was a demonic beast expert. It was a demon king. Boom! Suddenly, under the inexplicable invisible pressure, the Origin Supreme technique in Su Yi's body activated automatically. He was like an emperor who could not be provoked. A destructive pressure spread out. Traces of red light quietly appeared in the depths of Su Yi's eyes. Chapter 303. At that moment, the stalwart figure's expression changed. He stared intently at Su Yi, as though he was trying to pry into something. Then, as though he had sensed something, the stalwart figure shifted his gaze to Su Tianke. "Are you the monster emperor of this place?" Su Tianke asked as he stared straight at the stalwart figure. It was as though he didn't feel any pressure from the monster emperor. "Where did you come from?" The stalwart figure asked as he stared at Su Tianke. The shock on his face disappeared, and everything returned to normal. "K, version 8 has just been released. You wouldn't know even if I told you. Who are you? Why did you send those savage beasts to find us?" Su Tianke asked as he stared at the stalwart figure. His featherless wings were clasped tightly to his sides, and he stood with his hands behind his back. "Everyone calls me Akatsuki." The tall and sturdy man looked at Su Tianke and Su Yi, sizing them up. "You, Su Tianke, don't be so presumptuous." Su Tianke was about to speak when he was interrupted by Su Yi. He looked at the middle-aged man who called himself Akatsuki and cupped his fists. "Greetings, Monster Emperor. What's so great about being a demon emperor?" Su Tianke muttered softly, but his voice was extremely soft. "Are you the human who saved my son, Chinu?" Akatsuki's gaze landed on Su Yi. His stalwart figure was at least 2 heads taller than Su Yi, who was already quite tall among his peers. "That's right. It's just an opportunity. It's not worth mentioning," Su Yi replied. Although the invisible pressure in Su Tiang's body had been eliminated, the pressure from the surrounding space was still there. It felt as though it was difficult to penetrate his chi. He endured the pressure and stood straight without moving. "Chinu told me everything. You look exactly the same as what he said. It shouldn't be fake." Chi Ching spoke. For some reason, a look of admiration seemed to flash across his scarlet eyes as he looked at Su Yi. Subsequently, he continued to stare quietly at Su Yi as he continued. "In that case, half a month ago, there was an earth-shaking battle outside this place. Some demonic race members saw humans fleeing. It should have been you, right?" When Akatsuki said this, Su Yi's heart suddenly tightened. Su Tiang's eyes also flickered. "Have we been exposed?" Su Yi was shocked. Could it be that we've been exposed? No wonder the Demon King had people from Tian Yao School. It was indeed intentional. When the descendants of Tian Yao School were massacred, so many super-strong masters, the Demon Venerable, and the people from the Holy Mountain fought like the end of the world. Just as Su Tianke had guessed, it had attracted the attention of the strong masters of the demon clan. Therefore, the Demon King ordered the savage demons to search for humans in the surrounding area. Su Yi pondered. He didn't know why Akatsuki was searching for people from Tian Yao School. The changes in Su Yi's and Su Tiang's expressions were all seen by Akatsuki. He said calmly, "It seems that the battle was indeed related to you guys." Su Yi secretly took a deep breath. He looked up at Akatsuki and said, "Senior, to be honest, it was indeed related to us." "Are you also related to the battle?" Su Tianke asked. He was very close to Su Yi. There was some red light in his eyes. Akatsuki looked at Su Yi and Su Tianke. His eyes moved back and forth. His face was calm, and no one could tell what he was thinking. "Don't be nervous. If I wanted to kill you, you wouldn't be in front of me right now." A few breaths later, a wisp of a smile appeared on Chi Ching's face, and he said to Su Yi and Su Tianke, "I just want to know why experts have appeared in the barbaric demon forest." The effects of the battle weren't small, and it alarmed many experts of the demon race. Everyone wants to know the reason, so I wonder if the two of you can tell me? Hearing this, Su-yi looked at Akatsuki. He hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Later, Su-yi told Akatsuki some information about Tian Yao School. The descendants of Tian Yao School had concealed their identities and hid in the savage demon forest for many years. However, they were constantly hunted down by their enemies. Most of their strong masters were killed, and only a few young ones managed to escape. Su-yi knew that there was no need to hide these things. How monstrous the battle was. News of it had already spread. The Tian Yao School's matter couldn't be hidden either. Akatsuki was looking for him, which meant that he had obtained some information. If he hid it now, it would be self-defeating. He could only resign himself to fate. Tian Yao School. Akatsuki looked at Su-yi and nodded as if he knew something. His expression was still quite calm. He looked at Su-yi and continued to ask, so that's how it is. The battle was earth-shattering. The strong masters from all sides were extraordinary. I was wondering who could cause such a great battle. It turns out that the Tian Yao School still exists. The Demon King knows about the Tian Yao School. Su-yi was a little surprised. Akatsuki seemed to know about the Tian Yao School. I've lived for thousands of years. I've heard a lot of things. I've also heard about the Tian Yao School, but not much. I only know that the Tian Yao School used to be a big school in the ancient times. It's not inferior to the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 groups of humans, Akatsuki said. Thousands of years, Su-yi knew that this world was very different from his previous life. Many strong masters had long lives, and some strong masters of the Demon Clan were even more so. However, at this moment, a middle-aged Demon King, who claimed to have lived for thousands of years, was standing in front of him. He couldn't help but be shocked. "Young man, you dare to come to see me alone. What's your status in the Tian Yao School?" Akatsuki looked at Su-yi and asked with great interest. The more he looked at this young man, the more shocked he was. "To be honest, I'm the new suzerain of the Tian Yao School." Su-yi also had his own plans. His future was uncertain. He asked Akatsuki, "Demon King, why did you send so many savage beasts to search for us? This matter has alarmed many strong masters of the Demon Clan. I'm not the only one. Many strong masters of the Demon Clan are also looking for you." Akatsuki smiled and looked at Su-yi. He said, "Young and promising. No wonder you dared to come to see me alone. It turns out that you're the suzerain of the Tian Yao School. They're all looking for her." Hearing Akatsuki's words, Su-yi's heart tightened. Akatsuki wasn't the only one looking for the people of the Tian Yao School. Many strong masters of the Demon Clan were also looking for the people of the Tian Yao School. This meant that even if the people of the Tian Yao School escaped once, they wouldn't be able to get far in this savage demon forest. They had nowhere to run. Chapter 304. I heard that the Tian Yao School left something behind, and that's why it attracted so many powerful people. Akatsuki had always been interested in Su-yi. He asked Su-yi again, "My young friend, you are the new leader of the Tian Yao School. I wonder what the item left behind by the Tian Yao School is that it attracted so many powerful people to seek it for thousands of years?" Su-yi was shocked. This must be the purpose of the Demon King, Akatsuki. No wonder he was looking for the students of the Tian Yao School. It was also for the sake of the Tian Yao School. If the Tian Yao School had left something behind, it wouldn't have ended up in such a state of hiding, and it wouldn't have been massacred. It seems that the Demon King only wants the so-called item left behind by the Tian Yao School. I think it's time for the Demon King to make his move. With our strength, we are nothing in front of the Demon King. It's time for the Demon King to make his move. Su-yi looked straight at Akatsuki. There was a faint red light in his eyes. He said, "As the new leader of the Tian Yao School, I can't seek justice for the Tian Yao School's ancestors and avenge them. I can't protect the students of the Tian Yao School. I feel guilty. I'm a man, and I can't seek justice for myself. I've lived in vain. I feel regretful." His voice was sonorous. Su-yi's words were full of emotion, and he was telling the truth. If today was really a bad day, he would feel regretful, and he would have failed the Demon King. Looking at Su-yi's expression, Akatsuki's expression was still very calm. His eyes were deep and unfathomable. I'm curious about the Tian Yao school, but I won't kill the person who saved my son just for the so-called item left behind by the Tian Yao school. On the contrary, I should thank you greatly. Then Akatsuki smiled and looked at Su-e. He said, "This area is quite lively now. Many powerful people of the demon clan are looking for you. I believe you, but I don't know if the other powerful people of the demon clan will believe you. Strictly speaking, the place where you are staying is not under my control. I believe that it won't be long before other powerful people of the demon clan find it. That place is already a dangerous place. You saved my son, so you can stay in my Kanglan city for a while." Yek stay in Kanglan city. Su-e and Su-tianke looked at each other. Su-e was pondering. If what Demon King Akatsuki said was true, staying in Kanglan city was indeed quite safe. Putting aside whether Demon King Akatsuki was reliable or not, there were powerful people of the demon clan searching for the students of the Tian Yao school everywhere. Staying in Kanglan city was indeed safer than falling into the hands of other powerful people of the demon clan. After pondering for a while, Su-e also knew that Demon King Akatsuki's words were somewhat credible. The place where the students of the Tian Yao school were staying was not Akatsuki's absolute territory. Otherwise, Chinu would not have been ambushed and killed by the ancient golden-striped scorpion. Even if the Tian Yao school could avoid a disaster today, it would soon be discovered by other powerful people of the demon clan. Even if they wanted to escape, where could a large group of rookies go in the barbaric demon forest? Akatsuki seemed to have seen Su-yi's concern, so he did not force him to stay. He waved his hand and said, "You are free. If you don't want to, you can leave now. You are a student of the Tian Yao school. For your sake, I will not touch you again. Take it as a thank you for saving my son. Chinu, let's go." Hearing this, Su-tianke raised his tail slightly, and his small eyes moved slightly. He was about to leave with Su. Demon King. Su-e was deep in thought. He did not leave with Su-tianke. Instead, he bowed to Demon King Akatsuki and said, "I have a favor to ask. Do you want elixirs or treasures? You saved Chinu. Just tell me," Akatsuki said with a smile. Su-e raised his eyes and asked Demon King Akatsuki, "I don't want elixirs or treasures. I just want to ask a favor from you. Can you let the students of the Tian Yao school stay in Kanglan city for a while? We will leave when it is a little safer." Su-yi's words surprised Akatsuki and Su-tianke. Bringing the people of the Tian Yao school to this place was like sending sheep to a tiger's den. "Young man, aren't you afraid that I will kill all of you? Moreover, this is Kanglan city. You are all humans. How dare you come here to seek refuge?" Akatsuki looked at Su-e. His eyes were filled with emotions. "If you agree, I will keep my promise. I have nothing to be afraid of." Su-e smiled embarrassedly. Kanglan city was full of savage beasts. Demons and humans had always been like fire and water. However, savage beasts were everywhere in the savage demon forest. There was no difference. If he was in Kanglan city and had Akatsuki's protection, the situation would be much better. "Young man, you are very special and very bold. You surprised me. I have to say that I admire you for having such courage at such a young age." Demon Emperor Akatsuki looked at Su-e and said seriously, "Give me a reason why I can protect the people of the Tian Yao school. Or give me something I can't refuse. Otherwise, why would I risk offending other powerful demons for the sake of irrelevant humans? If they know that the people of the Tian Yao school are in my hands, they will think that I have received some great benefits. Kanglan city will become the target of public criticism. You saved Chinu, but it is not enough for me to protect the people of the Tian Yao school." Su-e looked at Demon Emperor Chinu. Although he was shrouded by an invisible pressure, his thin body was like a sharp blade that was stretched by a great force. There was light in his eyes. He said, "I can't give you a benefit that you can't refuse, and I can't give you a reason to protect the people of the Tian Yao school. However, I can give you a promise. 20 years from now, The Tian Yao school will repay the kindness of a drop of water with a gushing spring. 20 years is not long. A drop of water will be repaid with a gushing spring. Akatsuki smiled at Su-e, shook his head, and said, "But such a promise is too empty. Today your so-called Tian Yao school is hiding like a stray dog because of a great enemy. Why should I believe that the Tian Yao school will give me benefits in 20 years? What can I do in 20 years?" He obviously felt that the spiritual liquid in the jade bottle was of great use to the demon clan, and also to him. He looked at Su-e and continued, "But you also remember what you promised me. 20 years. I hope my risk today is worth it." Su-e nodded. 20 years. This was the bet with Akatsuki and himself. In this besieged city, Kanglan City was indeed the best hiding place for the children of Tian Yao School. Sometimes, the more dangerous a place was, the safer it was. Akatsuki promised to protect the children of Tian Yao School for 20 years. Su-e felt Akatsuki's straightforwardness and hoped that he could make the right bet. "You don't have to go back. I will arrange for the humans of Tian Yao School to be brought to Kanglan City," Akatsuki said. "This." Su-e smiled bitterly and told Akatsuki that he had to go back to pick up the people. Otherwise, forget about picking them up. Shangwan Su, Xionglu, and the other two elders might have already made their last stand. Hearing this, Akatsuki was secretly moved, and a light flashed in his eyes. Then, under Akatsuki's arrangement, Su-e, Su-tianke, and the black nether-flying lizard returned. Along the way, the black nether-flying lizard was very surprised and was even more polite to Su-e. The Demon King had ordered it to pick up the humans and bring them to Kanglan City. Although it had many doubts, it did not ask. On the other hand, Su-tianke was also very surprised along the way. It seemed that he wanted to ask Su-e something, but with the black nether-flying lizard around, he did not ask. In the main hall of Kanglan City, after Su-e and Su-tianke left, Akatsuki once again held the jade bottle that Su-e had taken out. His expression was fluctuating. "Big brother, that human boy is still wet behind the ears. You don't really believe what he said, do you? That he wants to protect a group of humans?" A tall and thin figure came quietly. It was an old man in his 60s. He was wearing a yellow robe, and his eyes were bright. He looked much older than Akatsuki, but he still called Akatsuki Big Brother. Wet behind the ears, but different. If what she knew said was true, and he was able to capture that little scorpion alive, do you think this Su-e is simple? Akatsuki smiled faintly. He looked at the old man in the yellow robe and said, "The new leader of the Tian Yao School. I didn't expect the Tian Yao School to still exist. How powerful was the Tian Yao School in the past? If that boy is really the new leader of the Tian Yao School, how could he not have something left by the Tian Yao School? The heavens are helping us. Why don't we just kill these humans? Then, won't the benefits be ours?" The old man in the yellow robe said. He was a little puzzled. They could just kill these humans directly, not to mention that it concerned the Tian Yao School. That boy said that the Tian Yao School didn't leave anything behind. Hu Qing said with a smile. "Impossible. Humans have always been cunning. If the Tian Yao School didn't leave anything behind, how could it attract so many strong people for thousands of years? Rumor has it that the Tian Yao School in the past was so powerful that it shocked the whole continent. How could it not leave something behind?" The old man in the yellow robe didn't believe it. He was sure that the Tian Yao School must have left some treasures behind. The human was absolutely unreliable. That boy must have lied. Akatsuki looked at the jade bottle in his hand. His eyes were slightly deep. He said if the Tian Yao School's treasures were really so easy to get, they would have been taken long ago. As for whether the Tian Yao School left anything behind, it's not important. But that Su-e, he is so young, which surprised me. "Big brother, did you see something?" The old man in the yellow robe asked. He knew his big brother Akatsuki's character. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such arrangements. He's only in the origin spirit realm, but the aura on his body is too strange. The kind of courage and bearing is 1 in 1,000,000 among humans. Akatsuki seemed to be thinking about something. He said to the old man in the yellow robe, "And that chicken, even I can't see through its origins. Strange, very strange. Big brother, if other guys find out that the Tian Yao School's people are in our hands, I'm afraid that it will cause endless trouble." The old man in the yellow robe said to Akatsuki. He was very worried. Now, many strong people of the Yao clan were looking everywhere for the survivors of the Tian Yao School. That day, someone had seen with their own eyes that many people from the Tian Yao School had escaped, and they were searching everywhere. Chapter 306. It's good that Big Brother knows. The yellow-robed old man did not ask any further. Keeping the jade bottle, Akatsuki looked at the yellow-robed old man and asked with interest, "What do you think of that human youth? That human kid?" The yellow-robed old man revealed a look of surprise. He had never had a good impression of humans, but since his big brother had spoken, there must be a deeper meaning behind it. After a moment of silence, he said, "I haven't come into contact with him, but from what I've seen, he seems to be extraordinary. He's only at the Yuan spirit stage, and he's not that old. Although he's still a little immature, for someone of his age and cultivation level, he's able to relax and be neither servile nor overbearing, and has a rather arrogant air about him. I'm afraid that even the most outstanding of the same generation from the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 factions would find it difficult to do so. His evaluation is not low. Do you think so too?" Akatsuki said with a faint smile. The smile in his eyes appeared unfathomable, making it difficult for others to see through him. "Let's talk about the facts. That human kid is not simple." The yellow-robed old man's expression was rather serious. He was talking about the facts. 4 ordinary warriors, let alone a mere Yuan spirit stage cultivator. Even ordinary Yuan Emperor cultivators would not be able to act so neither servile nor overbearing in front of his big brother. Others could be faked, but some temperaments could never be faked. That human kid is indeed not simple. Akatsuki said he could feel that there was a special temperament on that human youth. It was something that flowed out from his bones, something that could never be faked. No matter how extraordinary he is, he's still a human. Big brother, are you really going to protect that group of humans for 20 years? This is going to be a big problem. He had not mentioned it before, but now that his big brother had brought it up, the yellow-robed old man could not help but bring it up again. Although there are some differences between us monsters and humans, Chi-Nu is about the same age as that human kid. I've heard a little about the Tian Yao School's legend. If there comes a day when the Tian Yao School can rise again, it will be a great help to our Kanglan city. If there comes a day when us old fellows are no longer around, Chi-Nu will not be without support. Akatsuki's eyes sparkled as he lowered his eyebrows, seemingly thinking about something. "Big brother, don't tell me you want to leave that kid to Chi-Nu?" The yellow-robed old man suddenly realized. He was shocked and said, "But no matter what, that so-called Tian Yao School is made up of humans, and we are monsters. If there comes a day when the so-called Tian Yao School rises again, it will strengthen the power of humans, which is not good for us monsters. So what if it's a human?" Now there are many eyes on our Kanglan city. I'm afraid those guys are waiting for an opportunity. As long as the opportunity arises, they will definitely not be polite. Therefore, for us, the danger that humans bring to our Kanglan city is far less than the danger that we monsters bring. If that kid is really extraordinary, maybe he really has a chance to soar into the sky. Akatsuki recalled the human youth in his mind. From the first time he saw that young man, he had a faint feeling that he was not an ordinary person. The more he got to know him, the stronger that feeling in Akatsuki's heart became. Of course, as for what will happen in the end, it will depend on whether that kid is really extraordinary, Akatsuki said calmly. The yellow-robed old man did not ask any more questions. He was worried about Chi-Nu, so he said, "How is Chi-Nu?" Golden Scorpion made it sound nice. He said that the little scorpion was still young, so he would be strict with him and was willing to apologize. I don't think this matter is that simple. It is very likely that Golden Scorpion personally instructed him to attack Chi-Nu. Chi-Nu is fine now. Akatsuki's gaze gradually darkened. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said, "It seems that some guys really think that Akatsuki, have a good temper. Someone must pay the price for this. I will settle this score thoroughly." In the canyon, Elder Shangwan Su and the others were already getting more and more worried. In particular, Elder Shangwan Su and the other two were already hesitating whether they should fight with all their might. Head percent 3, he is fine now. When Sui returned and said this to everyone, the crowd cheered. Shangwan Su, Xiong Lu, and Hubu all heaved a sigh of relief. What? We are going to Kanglan City? We are going to the Demon King's place. Later, when everyone heard about Su Yi's decision, they were all shocked and shocked. Going to the Demon King's place and living with the savage beast day and night, no one dared to not imagine it. The Tian Yao School has already spread the news. Now, there are many Demon Clan experts looking for us. Su Yi was not surprised by everyone's reaction. He told them what he had heard. Everyone was discussing and whispering. They knew the seriousness of the matter. However, if they were to go to Kanglan City, everyone had their reservations. No one would trust Demon King Akatsuki. Anyway, if we meet other Demon Clan experts, we will be in trouble. We have nowhere to go. Why don't we go to Kanglan City? I don't trust the Demon King either, but I trust Su Yi. Hu Chi said. He did not trust those Demon Clan experts either, but he trusted Su Yi. I trust Su Yi too. If we really have nowhere to go, why not go to Kanglan City? Then, Xiong Zhan and the other young people expressed their opinions. They did not trust Demon King Akatsuki, but they trusted Su Yi. Therefore, they believed that Su Yi would not misjudge people. 3 elders, if there is no better way, I suggest we go to Kanglan City. The more dangerous the place, the safer it is. Su Yi knew that the final decision was still in the hands of the 3 elders at the moment. Although he was the new suzerain of Tian Yao School, Su Yi knew that the 3 elders had the highest prestige in the Tian Yao School. Although he was the suzerain, he was only a commander in name. Now, the only bloodline left in the Tian Yao School were a group of rookies. Su Yi did not want any more accidents to happen. Can you be sure that Demon King Akatsuki does not want to kill us all? Elder Hu Chi raised his eyes and looked at Su Yi. There were only a few bloodlines left in the entire tribe of tiger hunters. He did not participate in the bloody battle because he wanted to preserve the last bloodline of the tribe of tiger hunters. There could not be any more accidents. If Demon Emperor Qi Qing wants to catch all of us in one fell swoop, now is the best opportunity. Su Yi nodded. He understood Elder Hu Chi's concerns. Although he was not 100% sure, he believed in his intuition. Demon King Akatsuki was not a kind person, but he was trustworthy at the moment. If he wanted to kill them all, he could have done it long ago. There is no need to go to the trouble of sending them to Kanglan City. This place has been exposed. It is not safe, and it is difficult to move. Anyway, there is a slim chance of survival. Why not go to Kanglan City and give it a try? At least there is a chance. Chapter 307. If that's the case, we might as well give it a try, since it's almost certain death anyway. In the end, Xiong Lu, Hu Bu, and Shangwan Su nodded their heads. They knew that they had nowhere to go except Kanglan City. Elders, let's pack up as soon as possible. Su Yi heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the 3 elders nodding their heads. He told everyone to pack up as soon as possible. However, the string in the depths of Su Yi's heart tightened even more. At this moment, the future of the entire Tian Yao School was in his hands. If he was wrong, the entire Tian Yao School would be ruined. After a while, only Su Tianke and Su Yi were left at the back of the valley. Do you believe Akatsuki? Su Tianke asked Su Yi. It was inconvenient for him to ask on the way back. Half and half. I'm afraid that the Demon King has other plans. It's most likely for the sake of the Tian Yao School. Su Yi shook his head. He only half believed Akatsuki. He knew that Akatsuki wouldn't believe him if he said that there was nothing left for the Tian Yao School. You knew that. So why did you still go to Kanglan City? Su Tianke looked at Su Yi as if he was very interested in knowing everything. If I really left just now, I'm afraid that Akatsuki would be suspicious and think that there was really something left for the Tianyao school. That would be the real danger. Su Yi looked at Su Tianke. If he really left with Su Tianke in Kanglan City just now, Akatsuki would definitely think that there was something important left for them by the Tianyao school. It was easy to imagine what would happen then. Although he saved Chinu's life, it was nothing compared to a treasure. Do you think that Akatsuki won't be suspicious now? Su Tianke smiled and raised his eyebrows slightly. Of course he'll be suspicious. In fact, he'll be very suspicious. Su Yi smiled and said confidently, but if we really go to Kanglan City, we'll be safe. If we're all in Kanglan City, Akatsuki won't be in a hurry. Everything will be under his control. He'll look for opportunities slowly and secretly. As long as the people of the Tianyao school are in Kanglan City, we'll be safe. At least, we'll be safe for a certain period of time. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yi's lips curled into a smile. Haha, I understand. Su Tianke was in a daze. When Su Yi finished speaking, he smiled and said, killing two birds with one stone, borrowing the strength of others. If the people of the Sky Demon Sect are in Kanglan City, Chi-Ching will think that the Sky Demon Sect is still in his pocket. He will really protect the Sky Demon Sect. That's right. Sui nodded and smiled. He handed a bottle of spiritual liquid to Akatsuki because he wanted Akatsuki to believe that the Tianyao school had indeed left something behind. A while ago, the earth-shattering battle between the strong cultivators had made Akatsuki hesitate. It wouldn't be easy for him to get the things left behind by the Tianyao school. If he tried to do it by force, he might end up making a fool of himself. As long as he was in Kanglan City, he would have patience. So, the Tianyao school will be safe in the short term. But I'm afraid that after a long time, Akatsuki will find that he can't get any benefits at all. It'll be hard to say when that time comes. Su Tianke was quite surprised, but he was also worried. After a long time, even a demon emperor wouldn't be so easily fooled. Time. Why need now is time. The smile on Su Yi's face gradually disappeared and turned into a resolute one. Everything needed time. If he could become a strong cultivator in a short time, strong enough to make Akatsuki wary, then he would be able to resolve everything. But if he couldn't make any progress at that time, then he would be in real danger. Time. All he needed was some time. This made Su Yi nervous, but at the same time, he also had some confidence. With the supreme art of origin, the mysterious space, and the ancient scripture of the heavenly monster from the Tianyao school, Su Yi believed that he would be able to rise and become a strong cultivator as long as he had some time. I will also recover as soon as possible. When the time comes, a little demon emperor won't be a problem. Su Tianke seemed to know what Su Yi was thinking. He looked at Su Yi with a domineering look and said, "Find me more spiritual herbs or something. After I take them, I can recover faster." SQA. Su Yi, how dare you? Before Su Tianke could finish a sentence, he let out a blood-curdling scream. His body flew out in a parabola in the air, and no one knew how far he fell. Then, in the cave, Su Yi called out the mysterious space again. I have good news and bad news. In the mysterious space, Su Yi informed the golden python, fiery scarlet demon mink, and the others about the complicated situation outside. He was about to head to Kanglan City. Su Yi estimated that he would be staying in Kanglan City for a while. The scarlet-fired demon mink and the others had been in the mysterious space for a long time. He couldn't possibly stay there forever. Kanglan City was in the savage beast forest, which was a paradise for savage beasts. It was also the best place for savage beasts to train. Su Yi hoped that the golden python, white jade mystic bird, and the others could train there. In the short term, Su Yi hoped that he could become stronger. This kind of strength not only included himself, but also the strength of the people around him. Su Yi knew very well that the golden python, white jade mystic bird, red fire demon mink, and the others were originally barbaric beasts with ordinary bloodlines. But now, They were already extraordinary. They had already evolved and had the chance to become experts of the demon clan. We will follow Sir forever. The golden python, fiery scarlet martin, and the others declared. Their auras surged and their voices were like thunder. We can finally go out. Debeo and Xiaoling were very happy. After holding it in for so long, they could finally go out. In the blink of an eye, Su Yi appeared from the back of the mountain with a dozen savage beasts. Everyone in the Tian Yao school was shocked. They didn't know where and when Su Yi had subdued these savage beasts. Along the way, they didn't see Su Yi subduing these savage beasts. They also didn't know where these savage beasts came from. I will share with you in the future. I don't know if everyone is packed up. Su Yi explained to everyone. He had already expected everyone to be surprised. There is nothing to pack, but there are some things that we can't take with us. Elder Hubu said. Everyone hadn't been here for long, so they didn't have many things with them. Most of the cultivation resources were in the interspatial bags of the three elders. However, the space in the interspatial bags was limited. A lot of the lost food was stored in the interspatial bags. They couldn't take much with them. Let's go to Kanglan City first. Su Yi nodded. The problem of food was easily solved in Kanglan City. Although they couldn't casually hunt savage beasts anymore, they shouldn't starve. Chapter 308. Tell the others that no one has come here today. Otherwise, kill them all. Following behind Su Yi, the dark nether-flying lizard gave an order to the savage beasts around it, ordering them to retreat. Su Yi didn't ride the flying savage beasts arranged by the dark abyss flying lizard. Instead, he rode on the back of the white jade mystic bird. This white jade mystic bird doesn't seem simple. Shangguan Shiwei and Shangguan Xiao also accompanied Su Yi on the back of the white jade mystic bird. They had learned about the demon race and savage beasts since they were young. They felt that this white jade mystic bird was very different from ordinary ones. Looking at the silver spirit butterfly, hell rat, Debeo, and Xiaoling on the back of the white jade mystic bird, Shangguan Shiwei and Shangguan Xiao were both puzzled. These savage beasts didn't have high bloodlines, but their auras were extraordinary. They felt that there was something special about them, but they couldn't put their finger on it. Sitting cross-legged, Su Yi closed his eyes and rested. The fiery savage bird, white jade mystic bird, and silver spirit butterfly could fly. The hell rat, fiery red demon mink, Debeo, and Xiaoling were small and could ride on the white jade mystic bird. However, the fiery-eyed barbaric tiger, golden python, snow jade barbaric ape, and barbaric nethervoid panther were all massive in size and unable to fly, so they could only follow Chi-Ching's group back to Songlan City. Is this the Kanglan City where the Demon King lives? At dusk, when the Tian Yao School's disciples arrived at Kanglan City, they were shocked by the magnificent city. They had never gone out before, so they had never seen such a magnificent city before. Under the lead of the Dark Abyss Flying Lizard and the Dark Abyss Flying Lizard, Su Yi and the Tian Yao School's disciples finally arrived at a mountain in the depths of Kanglan City. There were some simple buildings on the mountain. At dusk, the sun was setting in the west. An array of sunset light shone on the forest. The area was very large, and there were several mountains. There was a small river flowing by, and the water was blue and clear. There were exotic flowers and plants, and birds were singing and flowers were fragrant. There were also mountains and waterfalls, like the Milky Way pouring down. What a beautiful place. Shangguan Xiao, Shangguan Shiwei, and a few other girls sighed in admiration. This place was extremely beautiful, and the scenery was pleasant. Shangguan Rock, Xiongzhan, and the rest were dumbfounded. They didn't think that there would be such a beautiful place in the Songlan City, which was filled with demonic beasts. The Demon Emperor has ordered that you can stay here and not run around. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. The Black Abyss Flying Lizard said a few more words to the black mythical beast before leaving. Is this place really safe? Elder Shangguan Su, Elder Xionglu, and Elder Hu Bu were still worried. After all, this was the land of the Demon Clan. As soon as they entered Kanglan City, They could feel the aura of many demon clan experts. At this moment, if Demon Emperor Akatsuki were to make things difficult for them, within Sanglan City, they would not even have the slightest chance to resist. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come. We'll be staying here for a while, so let's pack up and settle down first, Su-yi said. Then, everyone began to pack up and settle down. These mountains were located in the depths of Sanglan City. They were the places where the Tian Yao School's disciples would settle down. It seemed that humans had lived here before, and many simple buildings were left behind. After a simple packing, it was already nighttime. Everyone had to make do for the night. The next day, all the disciples in the courtyard began to help with the construction of the houses. Some 3- or 4-year-old children were also helping. Although these children were young, they were all martial artists. They had been building their foundation since they were young. Even a 3-year-old child would have astonishing strength. Moving bricks and stones would not be a problem for them. There was strength in numbers. In just 5 days, a large group of houses was completed. The courtyards were connected, and the disorder was picturesque. During these few days, no powerful demonic beasts came. No demonic beasts appeared in this area. However, the snow jade barbaric ape, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the golden python had already arrived. It's done. Su-yi felt a sense of satisfaction as he gazed at the courtyard of the house that had been completed. The remaining disciples of the Tian Yao School finally had a place to settle down. Roar! A demonic beast roared, and a vigorous demonic beast appeared. It looked like a lion or a tiger with a strong body. Its head was round and large, and its whole body was red. Its whole body seemed to be covered with a layer of thin red armor, and its shiny golden mane covered its shoulders and chest. This was a demonic beast cub, but the aura that emanated from its body was ferocious and shocking. It had the aura of a king. Sanglan Red Gold Beast. When such a demonic beast cub appeared, the disciples of the Tian Yao School immediately cried out in surprise. Shangguan Su, Xiong Lu, Elder Hubu, and the others all secretly changed their expressions. They had also heard that the Demon King of Sanglan City was a Sanglan Red Gold Beast. This Sanglan Red Gold Beast cub should be the one that Su-yi saved. She knew. Su-yi moved slightly. It was the Sanglan Red Gold Beast cub that he had saved before. Chi-Nu was very happy to see Su-yi and spoke in beast language. Human, I heard that you were here when I came out of seclusion. That's why I came to see you. I didn't expect it to be you. I'm afraid I'll have to stay here for a while. Thank you, Demon King, for taking me in. Su-yi was also very happy to see Chi-Nu. Being able to have a place to stay in Sanglan City had a lot to do with Chi-Nu. You're welcome. You saved me, but my father will thank you properly. Chi-Nu was very enthusiastic and thanked Su-yi again. Chi-Nu spoke beast language while Su-yi spoke human language. Even so, they still chatted for a long time. Elder Shangguan, Su, and the others, who were watching from afar, could only stare with their mouths agape. Suddenly, Chi-Nu looked at Su-yi. Red light flickered in his eyes, and battle intent surged out. You're strong, even stronger than me. However, I want to fight with you to train myself. What do you think? Chi-Nu knew that Su-yi was very strong. Back then, he could directly capture the golden-patterned ancient scorpion alive. At his peak, his strength should be similar to the golden-patterned ancient scorpion. Chi-Nu had battle intent. The human in front of him had a similar cultivation as him, and he wanted to train himself. This, Su-yi hesitated for a moment before nodding. He wanted to fight with Chi-Nu. He said, "This place is not suitable. Let's go somewhere else." Although these hills were not small, Su-yi knew the scarlet pheasant's strength. Once a battle broke out, the newly built houses would be razed to the ground. All right, let's go somewhere else. Chi-Nu was very happy and left with Su-yi. I want to go and watch the show too. Dabeo and Xiaoling were very excited and wanted to go and watch the show. My lord, I want to go too. The Scarlet Fire demonic mink, Hell Rat, Barbaric Nether Panther, and the others were all interested and wanted to watch the show. They were very curious about the battle between their lord and the Sanglan Golden Beast, a demon race cub. Is it convenient? Chapter 309. Let's go together. Qinu nodded. There was nothing inconvenient about it. We want to go too. Xiongzhan, Hu Qi, and the others were also very interested. He was going to fight with the Azure Water Gold beast, so they couldn't miss it. No, you guys stay here. Don't go too far. He shook his head. He had promised the Demon King that the Tian Yao School's disciples couldn't run around in Kanglan City. The fiery red demon mink and the others were savage beasts, so there was no problem. An hour later, in a remote corner of Kanglan City, in a huge canyon. Come on, no need to be polite. I just want to fight. Qinu said. His body was covered in light, and then it expanded several times. Red light glittered, and he stood in front of Sui like a small mountain. Fight, Sui said. Once upon a time, he also wanted to fight with a demon cub of the same generation to see who was stronger. Now an Azure Water Gold beast cub was in front of him, and it wanted to fight. This made Sui want to fight too. When he captured the ancient golden patterned scorpion cub alive, its strength was almost the same as Qinu's. That was because Sui used his trump card right from the start. Now, Qinu's injuries seemed to have recovered. Sui also wanted to test himself. If he didn't use his trump card, how far could he go? Roar! The crimson pheasant moved, and the crimson light on its body was like a vast and mighty ocean. Suddenly, an unparalleled blazing aura swept out, surging and surging, and the air seemed as if it had suddenly caught fire. In merely an instant, it was like a sea of fire was pouncing over. N plus our fight. Sui shouted. His eyes were dazzling like lightning. His hair fluttered behind him, and his vitality flowed through his wide meridians. He punched forward, shaking off the sea of fire. Qinu waved his claw, and flames spread all over his body. A huge red claw stretched out, and under the sharp claw, a strong wind swept out, and some of the mountain rocks were crushed into powder. It was hot and fierce. Sui did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and raised his arms to meet the attack head-on. The two of them collided, and a strong gust of wind swept out in all directions. Rocks exploded, trees withered, and rubble flew everywhere. The scene was horrifying. A man and a beast engaged in a fierce battle. They collided repeatedly, causing sand and pebbles to fly everywhere. My lord's progress is astonishing. The golden python, silver spirit butterfly, and hell rat were watching from afar, their eyes trembling. An hour later, the intense battle finally calmed down, and the rumbling noises in the surroundings finally vanished. Good, this is so satisfying. Qinu's gigantic body returned to normal. He was panting heavily, and the scales on his body had dimmed. There were many injuries on his body, and traces of blood were seeping out from some places. He was not much better. His hair was messy, and his face was pale. However, compared to Qinu, he was slightly better. After the battle, Sui was also tempering himself. He also tested the strength of the demon spirit truth, savage scripture, and heavenly tiger art. He discovered that all of them could suppress a barbaric beast. Even if Qinu was a demonic beast cub, it would still be affected. This made Sui very happy. Let's continue after I recover. This is so satisfying. It was obvious that the scarlet pheasant was defeated. However, it was very happy. It was a battle to its heart's content. It wasn't easy for it to train itself. In Kanglan City, it wasn't easy to find a cub of a barbaric beast with a similar cultivation level. Good. Let's continue when the time comes. Sui was also very happy. The battle with Qinu was also a form of tempering for him. Far away in the canyon, on a distant mountain peak, two figures quietly appeared. Their auras were concealed. Although they were standing there, it was difficult to see them clearly. One of them was an old man in a yellow robe. His eyes shone brightly. The other one looked to be in his 50s. He had a tall and sturdy figure. His skin was red, and his facial features were well defined. He had a pair of deep red eyes that emitted the aura of a king that could shake the world. Sui, what do you think? The middle-aged man spoke. He was wearing a golden robe and had an outstanding bearing. He was Demon Emperor Akatsuki. He's not simple. He's only at the first level of the Yuan Profound Realm, yet he was able to defeat Qi Nu. It seems like he still has some strength left. The yellow-robed old man's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He said to Akatsuki with a shocked expression, "Such a human youth. Even the elites of the same generation in the one mountain, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 4 factions can't be compared to him. He seems to be much stronger than I imagined." Akatsuki's eyes were deep. He lowered his eyes and seemed to be thinking about something. He gave off an oppressive aura. Such a human youth will one day grow up to be a terrifying expert among the humans. If we kill him today, the humans will have one less expert in the future. The yellow-robed old man's eyes flashed coldly. Such a human youth was too strong. Once he grew up, he would be a great threat to the demon race. The demon race and the human race have already stopped fighting. It's no longer a critical period. Akatsuki raised his head slightly and smiled. He said to the yellow-robed old man, "Those barbaric beasts aren't ordinary either. There's a silver spirit butterfly, a hell rat, a golden python, a white jade mystic bird, a scarlet fire demon mink, and a fiery-eyed barbaric tiger. Their normal bloodlines aren't high, but their auras are very complex. I can't see through them. Could it be related to the Tian Yao school?" The yellow-robed old man pondered. Tian Yao school. I'm getting more and more curious. Akatsuki said slowly. Another day had passed. At night, the moon was bright and the stars were dim. "Grandpa, how are you now? Father, Mother, where are you? Are you still alive?" Beside the small river, the water gurgled. Under the cover of the night, Su-Yi sat alone by the river, looking at the ripples on the water. He was absent-minded. He was worried about his grandfather's injuries, and he missed his parents in this life. Not far away, Shangguan Shiwei walked over. Under the moonlight, her graceful curves were even more charming. She looked at the absent-minded Su-Yi, hesitated for a moment, and then slowly walked up to him. "Why are you here?" Su-Yi came back to his senses. He turned around and saw Shangguan Shiwei. His expression returned to normal, and he asked with a smile, "I saw you here, so I came over to take a look." Shangguan Shiwei looked at Su-Yi and asked, "Are you homesick?" "I'm really homesick." Su-Yi's answer was very direct. He was really homesick. He was worried about his grandfather's injuries. He was thinking about Su-Wan, that girl, and Fatty Wong. He didn't know how they were doing. "It's been hard on you recently. If it weren't for you, I don't know how everyone would be doing. I thank you on behalf of everyone." Shangguan Shiwei sat on the ground beside Su-Yi and looked at Su-Yi. Her eyes were bright and dazzling in the dark night. She was very clear that from the time Su-Yi entered Spirit Ancient Village until now, so many things had happened. It was all thanks to Su-Yi's help. Otherwise, they wouldn't know what to do now. This time, they were able to stay in Songlan City because of Su-Yi's contribution. "It's not hard." Su-Yi smiled. Many things had happened during this period of time. He had encountered danger several times, but what he had gained was also amazing. Su-Yi looked at Shangguan Shiwei and asked, "You should be cultivating the demon spirit truth, right? How do you know about the demon spirit truth?" Shangguan Shiwei was a little surprised at first, but then she seemed to recall that Su-Yi was now the Tian Yao school leader. He had obtained great benefits in the Heavenly Fey Grotto and caused such a shocking commotion. Perhaps it was related. "I need to take a look at your demon spirit truth," Su-Yi said to Shangguan Shiwei. He wanted to understand the demon spirit truth that the Spirit Ancient Village was currently cultivating. He wanted to determine if the demon spirit truth that the Spirit Ancient Village was cultivating was as he expected. There were many differences between it and the demon spirit truth that he had obtained. The demon spirit truth is the strongest cultivation technique of the Spirit Ancient Village. Only the people of the Spirit Ancient Village can cultivate it. Shangguan Shiwei's expression was difficult, but she only hesitated for a moment and said to Su, "You are the Tian Yao school leader. The demon spirit truth is also a cultivation technique of the Tian Yao school. I can give it to you. However, This cultivation technique is in the hands of Elder Shangwan Su. If you want to cultivate it, I'll go look for Elder Shangwan Su tomorrow. There shouldn't be too much of a problem." Hearing this, Su Yi smiled. He was afraid that Shangwan Shiwei would think that he wanted to cultivate the demon spirit truth. 5YC, unspecified currency current P edition, X chapter, HDQ %. There's no need to look for Elder Shangwan Su. I only need to take a look at the demon spirit truth, Su Yi said to Shangwan Shiwei. The cultivation techniques, chant, is enough. Shangwan Shiwei was astonished. The cultivation techniques chant was usually inscribed on the scroll by an expert. At the same time, the cultivation techniques aura would be inscribed as a primer. Ordinary cultivation techniques were still fine. However, the higher the level of the cultivation technique, it was impossible to cultivate it just by relying on the cultivation techniques chant. Su Yi smiled faintly. Hand seals began to form in his hands. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura spread out from Su Yi's body. A vast and ancient aura also spread out from his body. A slight demonic aura fluctuated. His eyes were like lightning, making people's hearts palpitate with just a glance. This is the demon spirit truth. When this aura spread out, Shangwan Shiwei's eyes were filled with shock as she looked at Su Yi. This was too inconceivable. This aura was clearly the demon spirit truth. However, this aura seemed to be far above the demon spirit truth. I've already cultivated the demon spirit truth. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School schoolmaster. I have some doubts about it, so I want to take a look. Su Yi withdrew his aura and told Shangwan Shiwei the truth. Since he had already cultivated the demon spirit truth, he didn't have to worry about Shangwan Shiwei telling him the cultivation techniques chant. All right, Shangwan Shiwei calmed down. So Su Yi really did cultivate the demon spirit truth. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School schoolmaster. Its aura seemed to be much stronger than the demon spirit truth that she cultivated. It seemed that Su Yi becoming the Tian Yao School schoolmaster was something that was certain. Immediately, Shangwan Shiwei told Su Yi the cultivation techniques chant of the demon spirit truth. She no longer had any misgivings. So it's true. When he learned about Shangwan Shiwei's cultivation technique, Su Yi didn't make any comparisons and immediately discovered the problem. Su Yi discovered that for some reason, the demon spirit truth that the spirit ancient village had been cultivating was incomplete. It was missing some parts. Therefore, after he cultivated the demon spirit truth, he felt that there was a problem. What's wrong? Is there a problem with the demon spirit truth? Looking at Su Yi's expression, Shangwan Shiwei said, I once heard from my grandmother that the demon spirit truth had some small problems. It seems that a long time ago, when it was passed down, it was incomplete. I heard that the wild bear tribe's savage scripture and the tribe of tiger hunters' heavenly tiger arts were the same. I don't know why, but the ones that were passed down were incomplete. That's right. Su Yi smiled and nodded. His eyes revealed a smile. Shangwan Shiwei looked at Su Yi and was a little surprised. Rest early. I have something to do first. Looking at the sky, one night had unknowingly passed. The sky was already slightly bright. Su Yi's voice fell, and he hurriedly left. Not long after the sky was slightly bright, Su Yi found Hu Qi and said, I want to meet everyone in the tribe of tiger hunters in the soul essence realm and above. The sooner the better. Chapter 3:11. Half an hour later, in the main hall, Su Yi saw Elder Hubu leading the hunting tiger tribes group of close to 100 tribesmen. All of them looked at Su Yi with confusion in their eyes. I called everyone here because I have a set of techniques to pass on to everyone. It was left behind by the previous Tian Yao School schoolmaster. Su Yi took the lead and told everyone the reason. Last night, Su Yi had thought that the Tian Yao School's disciples had temporarily settled down. At this time, the Tian Yao School needed to grow as quickly as possible and increase its strength. But the only thing Su Yi could think of was to pass on the real demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, savage scripture, and other techniques to the Tian Yao School's disciples. Percent after learning the formula of the demon spirit truth from Shangwan Shi Wei, Su Yi confirmed that the demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, and savage scripture that the spirit ancient village, tribe of tiger hunters, and wild bear tribe were currently practicing were all incomplete. Although these three cultivation techniques could still be cultivated, they were far inferior to the real, true demon spirit explanation, savage scripture, and heavenly tiger arts. What kind of technique was left behind by the previous Tian Yao schoolmaster? Hearing Su Yi's words, everyone was moved. Elder Hubu's eyes were full of expectation. He couldn't help but take a step forward and ask Su Yi. Looking at the crowd, Su Yi smiled faintly. He formed a hand seal and closed his eyes. Suddenly, when Su Yi's closed eyes opened again, a ray of light flashed in the depths of his eyes. In an instant, the aura around his body surged like the waves of the sea. The aura was terrifying. Roar! In the next moment, the shadow of a huge, heavenly tiger covered Su Yi's body. The tiger's roar was ear-splitting, and a powerful aura filled the air. Su Yi's hair fluttered in the wind, and the sound of wind and thunder resounded. Heavenly tiger technique. When this scene appeared, Elder Tiger Steps was immediately shocked. The expressions of the other disciples of the tribe of tiger hunters turned into astonishment. They could all feel that this was definitely the heavenly tiger technique that their tiger hunting tribe cultivated. However, compared to the heavenly tiger technique that they cultivated, the power and aura of this technique were much stronger. This is the complete heavenly tiger skill. Su Yi withdrew his aura, looked at everyone's expression, and smiled. The real heavenly tiger technique was something that the tribe of tiger hunters had been practicing. After practicing the complete heavenly tiger technique, the disciples of the tribe of tiger hunters would be able to improve further. 3 days later, Su Yi found the wild bear tribe. Boom! In the hall, Su Yi's hand seals were condensed. His eyes were bright, and a vortex-like light gushed out. A terrifying ancient aura filled the air, as if it could suppress everything and spread out in all directions. From Su Yi's body, a powerful aura filled the air, revealing an ancient pressure, savage scripture. This is the savage scripture of our wild bear tribe. Elder Bear 6's body trembled, and his eyes were filled with shock. Su Yi was clearly using the wild bear tribe's savage scripture, but this aura was much stronger than the one that he cultivated. The complete savage scripture will be handed over to the wild bear tribe today. Su Yi smiled. The complete savage scripture would be given to the disciples of the wild bear tribe to cultivate. On the 7th day, Su Yi finally found the disciples of the spirit ancient village. These days, Su Yi had found the tribe of tiger hunters and then the wild bear tribe. The people of the spirit ancient village had already received the news. Some people were curious and secretly inquired. Now that they saw Su Yi, they had already guessed most of it. I heard that the previous sect leader of the Tian Yao school left behind the complete savage scripture and heavenly tiger technique. Could it be that the demon spirit truth that we're cultivating is also incomplete? Some people whispered. These days, they had gathered a lot of information out of curiosity. Elder Shangwan Su also stared intently at Su Yi, his eyes filled with anticipation. The complete demon spirit truth will be handed over to everyone today. Hearing the whispers of discussion and looking at the gazes of Elder Shangwan Su, Shangwan Rock, and Shangwan Yu, Su Yi spoke. Of course, the complete demon spirit truth had to be handed over to the villagers of the spirit ancient village. The demon spirit truth was related to the soul. Compared to the heavenly tiger technique and the savage scripture, it was harder to cultivate. Su Yi spent 5 days to hand over the demon spirit truth to everyone. We need to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time, Elder Shangwan Su said excitedly, as if he had obtained a treasure. After obtaining the complete demon spirit truth, he knew exactly what he had obtained. He needed to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time to digest it. Su Yi didn't find it strange. Elder Xionglu, Elder Hubu, and the others had already gone into seclusion. The people of the tribe of tiger hunters and the wild bear tribe were also cultivating in seclusion to comprehend the complete heavenly tiger technique and savage scripture. The villagers of the spirit ancient village were all excited and chose to cultivate in seclusion. The place suddenly became much quieter. Only the figures of the barbaric heavenly leopard, the fire-eyed barbaric tiger, and the other barbaric demonic beasts were left. Su-E handed over the complete demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, and savage scripture to everyone. He knew that he was in Songlan City, but he didn't have too many concerns. The demon spirit truth, heavenly tiger technique, savage scripture were all precious treasures. However, to Songlan City, they weren't of much use. Even if Demon Emperor Akatsuki took them, they wouldn't be of much use. However, it wasn't that Su-E wasn't worried that Demon Emperor Chi-Ching would have designs on the heavenly tiger technique. After all, if Demon Emperor Chi-Ching wanted to get his hands on the heavenly tiger technique and the demon spirit insight, he would be able to exchange them for precious treasures. Su-E was gambling. He had once promised Akatsuki that after 20 years, the Tian Yao School would repay the favor of protecting him. Although they were in Songlan City, if Akatsuki felt that the Tian Yao School was mediocre, it would be another matter if Akatsuki would keep his promise. On the contrary, if Akatsuki felt that the Tian Yao School wasn't simple, perhaps the Tian Yao School's disciples would be safer in Songlan City. Brother Su-E, let's continue the battle. Coincidentally, Chi-Nu came looking for him again. He wanted to continue the battle with Su-E to sharpen himself. In the previous battle, Chi-Nu was injured, but he gained a lot. Only he knew what kind of benefits he gained. Okay, let's continue the battle. Su-E nodded. In the previous battle, Su-E also gained a lot. At the same place, a man and a beast engaged in an intense battle. It was so fierce that it even attracted the attention of many savage beasts. Their fierce eyes were filled with shock. In the end, Chi-Nu was defeated. Su-E didn't hold back. Aside from using his powerful trump cards, he used his full strength. Awesome. I gained a lot from the two battles. I feel that I'm about to make a breakthrough. Let me go into seclusion for a period of time. After I make a breakthrough, we'll continue the battle. Chi-Nu was very happy. He gained a lot and was preparing to make a breakthrough to the 3rd level of the demon spirit realm. I'll wait for you. I'll also go into seclusion for a period of time. Soon, Su-E calmed down and immersed himself in cultivation. He wasn't impatient and his heart was clear. By cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra, Su-E had already laid down the foundation. He had successfully cultivated the heavenly tiger art, savage scripture, and demon spirit truth. However, this was only the foundation of cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The heavenly tiger art, demon spirit truth, and savage scripture were just a part of the vast Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. It was said that if the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was cultivated to greater mastery, it would shock the heavens and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. Shock the heavens and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. These 6 words were enough to prove the power and vastness of the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The image of the Heaven Fei, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of creation, the image of creation, the heavens, earth, and man. The heavens and earth are enshrouded in mist. All things are mellow. The image of the image is taken directly. The function of the image is read directly. The great change is the mystery. The unity of the 5 elements becomes the myriad. The 3 of heaven, earth, and man become one. The rotation of the stars changes. The universe settles. The Een plate has no restraints, sitting cross-legged. Su-E began cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. His hand seals condensed as light emitted from his body. The heavenly tiger art, savage scripture, and demon spirit truth were the foundation of the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra. The heavenly tiger art was force, the savage scripture was strength, and the demon spirit truth was spirit. 5 genuine H first tier release. The heavenly tiger art focused on force and relied on it to suppress all eternity. The savage scripture focused on strength and used strength to destroy all dharma. The demon spirit truth focused on spirit and used the soul to guide the might of the myriad beasts. The image of the heaven Fae, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of the myriad beasts, the image of creation, the image of the heavens, earth, and man. He was immersed in his cultivation as his aura fluctuated slightly. It was not time, but a demonic aura emanated from him. It was demonic, but not evil. Soon, he opened his eyes. His eyes were suffused with light that resembled lightning. It was as though the true spirits of the myriad beasts were twinkling in his eyes. The Heaven Fae Ancient Sutra's power and mysteriousness had already been revealed just from the beginning of his cultivation. The Heaven Fae Ancient Sutra was very difficult to cultivate. Just the conditions required to cultivate it were enough to make one sigh. The requirements on one's body and soul were nearly perverse. Especially the requirements on one's soul, the conditions were absolutely perverse. However, He happened to satisfy these perverse conditions. It was as though the Heaven Fae Ancient Sutra was tailor-made for him. As he immersed himself in his cultivation, he forgot everything. His mind was calm, as all he felt was enlightenment. Back then, he was unable to cultivate because his body was unable to store yuan qi. It was not because he was stupid. On the contrary, to be able to cultivate the primordial chaos supreme technique at the essence soul realm, Su Yi's talent and intelligence was self-evident. He was even able to cultivate the royal grade movement technique, the rising, oscillating 100 transformation steps. Even the mysterious person at the bottom of the 100,000-foot cliff was astounded. As time slowly passed, He completely immersed himself in a wondrous state of enlightenment. He let go of everything except for cultivation. This was also a form of tenacity and perseverance. The Heaven Fae Ancient Sutra was very difficult to cultivate. No matter how talented a person was, it was difficult to master it in a short period of time. However, to warriors, such cultivation and enlightenment was a form of enjoyment. He was oblivious to the time as he immersed himself in his cultivation. Light flickered as energy fluctuated around Su Yi's body, bringing with it a kind of demonic but not evil aura. It lingered around his body, fluctuating on the surface of his body. Different kinds of light flowed into his flesh, as if it was condensing some kind of mysterious energy and refining it. This energy was demonic but not evil. It was as though a seed had been planted in Su Yi's body. It was as though it had a life of its own as it slowly took root and sprouted. Within the cave, Su Yi, who was sitting cross-legged, was glowing. His body looked even more like a warm jade. As time passed, the cave became very quiet. No demonic beasts came to disturb him. 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, the Heaven Fae Ancient Sutra used the savage scripture, demonic spirit truth, and heavenly tiger art as its foundation. It used force, power, and spirit as its foundation. The three fused together from the inside to the outside, and from the outside to the inside. The demonic aura on Su Yi's body was getting denser and denser. His body was getting more and more translucent. It was as though he was being baptized by a mysterious energy. If there was an expert here right now, they would definitely be shocked. Is this still a youth in the first level of the demon spirit realm? How could his aura reach such a level? 25 days, 1 month. Chapter 313. But in the barbaric demon forest, it caused a lot of commotion. The Tian Yao school had already spread the news of the arrival of those super powerhouses and the fierce battle that seemed like it was going to destroy the heavens and the earth. It alarmed many people. The news was even quickly spreading throughout the continent. The Tian Yao school actually still exists in this world. The Tian Yao school still has descendants. Is this true? In this world, the powerhouses and giants were all shocked when they heard the news. For a time, the land of the Tian Yao school that had been bathed in blood was no longer peaceful. From time to time, An obscure aura descended, and powerhouses came to search. In the small cave, he forgot about everything else. He forgot that he was in Kanglan City, forgot about the Tian Yao School, forgot about Barbarian City, forgot about his grandfather's injuries, and only focused on cultivating the ancient scripture of the heavenly demon. Wisps of demonic aura filled the air. In Su Yi's breath, wisps of energy fluctuations lingered between his mouth and nose, with a special rhythm. This energy was accompanied by the demonic aura. It was demonic but not evil, and there was also an invisible pressure that gradually enveloped Su Yi. In the end, the energy gathered around Su Yi's body and formed a dragon-shaped pattern that looked like a dragon, but wasn't exactly a dragon. It's strange, very strange. At some point, not far from the small cave where Su Yi was cultivating in seclusion, two figures quietly appeared on a towering mountain peak. They were the demon Emperor Akatsuki and the yellow-robed elder. The yellow-robed elder was obviously a demon emperor. He looked into the cave as if he could see through everything. His eyes trembled slightly, and he said, "This kid is human, but his aura seems to be related to us demons. As far as I know, the rise of the Tian Yao school had something to do with the Yao clan. This kid might really be the new schoolmaster of the Tian Yao school. The descendants of the Tian Yao school have been living in seclusion for thousands of years, but they still exist in this world," Akatsuki said. He had heard some rumors about the Tian Yao school. Many people outside are looking for the Tian Yao school. Many human powerhouses have also arrived. I didn't expect that so many people would be alarmed and cause such a big commotion, the yellow-robed old man said. We went out for a walk. For the time being, no one will suspect Kanglan City. Akatsuki said. The yellow-robed old man smiled. He knew that his elder brother's wisdom was extraordinary. Obviously, the people of the Tian Yao school were all in Songlan City, but he deliberately went to show his face. It seemed that he was also interested in the Tian Yao school, so that the people nearby wouldn't be suspicious. Looking into the cave, the yellow-robed old man's eyes moved for a while. He said, "I heard that Qi Nu is in seclusion again. Is he going to make another breakthrough?" "He should be making another breakthrough." Akatsuki nodded, but there was a slight frown between his eyebrows. He said, "But I still can't compare with this kid. This kid is too mysterious. I can't see through him." Boom! Before Akatsuki could finish his words, thunder suddenly roared in the sky outside the small cave. Walala! Immediately, the energy between heaven and earth fluctuated violently in an instant. As the thunder roared, the energy of heaven and earth descended from all directions. The energy of heaven and earth was very strange. It carried a kind of vast coercion, as if it had come from ancient times. Immediately, it gathered towards the cave. What's going on? The sudden commotion caused a yellow-robed old man to be startled. His face was filled with astonishment. This pressure had actually affected him somewhat. Chi-Ching's gaze was fixed on the cave in an instant. At this moment, the oppressive energy in the surroundings was gathering towards the cave. There is only a youth in seclusion within the cave. If I'm not mistaken, it's caused by that kid. Akatsuki's expression changed as his eyes lit up. How was that possible? That human kid is only at first-level essence spirit stage. How can he cause such a commotion? The yellow-robed old man could not believe it. How could a first-level essence spirit stage human kid cause such a huge commotion? Rumble. While the yellow-robed old man was still in disbelief and shock, dark clouds suddenly gathered in the sky. The energy of heaven and earth grew more and more intense. Dense demonic chi pervaded the air, as if it was coming from the heavens. More and more dark clouds gathered as lightning flashed. In the end, thunder rumbled and thunder roared, as the rumbling of thunder resounded throughout the land. Such an unforeseen event immediately attracted the attention of the entire Kanglan City. Numerous barbaric demon beasts walked out, their ferocious eyes looking towards the direction of the commotion as they trembled in fear. The weaker barbaric demon beasts were suppressed to the point of prostrating on the ground. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The earth trembled, the mountains and rivers swayed, and huge waves surged into the sky. A terrifying aura descended from the heavens, enveloping the entire Kanglan city. Both inside and outside Kanglan city, a large number of barbaric demon beasts trembled in fear from the depths of their hearts. Awoo! 8 figures of beasts appeared, roaring as they approached the small cave where Su-Yi was in seclusion. These 8 beasts were none other than the golden python, fire-eyed barbaric tiger, Debeo, and Shaoling. These 8 beasts were the barbaric demon beasts that had obtained the inheritance from the mysterious space. At this moment, for some reason, they did not seem to be suppressed by the terrifying aura and commotion. Chapter 314. Rumble. Above the small cave, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Demonic aura filled the sky. The energy spun like a vortex and became more and more frenzied as it rushed into the cave. Awoo! Within Kanglan City, the deafening roars of beasts were heard. Together with the thunderous roars, it was earth-shattering and reached the clouds. Many powerful savage beasts were alarmed. They followed the direction of the source of the energy and looked towards the mountain. Many of the Tian Yao School's disciples who were in seclusion had already woken up. There were also a few people who were in secluded meditation who were awakened. The shocking commotion caused them to rush over. Under the pressure of the pressure, their hearts began to pound as they stared at the small cave in astonishment. What's going on? Elder Shangwan Su, Elder Xiong Lu, and Elder Hubu stood in unison. Even they were trembling in fear at the shocking commotion. Dark clouds covered this part of the sky. Lightning was raging, and the aura was terrifying. Akatsuki and the yellow-robed elder did not care about the changes. Their eyes were fixed on the cave. They felt that the pressure inside the cave was even more terrifying. Something's wrong. The yellow-robed elder narrowed his eyes as he looked at the small cave from afar. He suddenly spoke, and his heart skipped a beat. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, the mountain where the small cave was located trembled. It was like a volcanic eruption. It suddenly exploded, and countless gravel shot into the sky. Dust flew everywhere. The mountain collapsed, and the ground cracked. When the mountain exploded, a terrifying aura surged out. It was accompanied by a surging demonic aura that shot into the sky. At the same time, light filled the air from the exploded mountain. A figure was wrapped in the energy of heaven and earth. Demonic aura lingered, and the figure was suspended in the air. The figure was surrounded by a dazzling light. Asterisk. However, it was not difficult to see that the figure was carrying a sword on his back. He was about 15 or 16 years old. His long black hair was draped over his shoulders, but it could not cover his handsome features. His eyes were closed, but it could not hide his unique temperament. He was slightly arrogant and evil. This evil had nothing to do with the demonic aura around him. It came from the figure himself. Who else could this figure be other than Su-Yi? Rumble. When Su-Yi's figure appeared, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly turned pitch black. The dark clouds spread out and silently covered this part of the world, causing the ground to instantly sink into darkness. When the black cloud appeared, the yellow-robed old man and Akatsuki's pupils immediately shrank. Boom! The void trembled for no reason as a formless pressure spread out, causing one's soul to tremble uncontrollably. All the beasts in Songlan City seemed to have sensed something at this moment. All of them fell silent and began to tremble on the ground. Chilala! Dark clouds surged and lightning flashed, illuminating the dark heaven and earth. This dazzling thundercloud that occupied the sky emitted a powerful lightning pressure that caused the hearts of all the beasts to palpitate and their hairs to stand on end. All of them felt a chill in their hearts. No, this is not a vision of heaven and earth. This is a tribulation. Suddenly, Akatsuki couldn't help but tremble as he exclaimed. His bright eyes stared at the figure of the young man sitting cross-legged in the sky, far away. His eyes fluctuated violently. Chilala. However, before Akatsuki could finish his sentence, bolts of lightning from the black thundercloud connected the heavens and the earth and fell directly on Su-yi. It was extremely terrifying. This was a tribulation, not an ordinary bolt of lightning. It was a punishment from the heavens. Rumble, all of a sudden, with Su-yi as the center, bolts of lightning erupted violently and endlessly. Bolts of lightning came from all directions crazily. They brought with them the pressure of heaven and earth, as if they were going to destroy everything. What's going on? Su-yi, be careful. All the children of the Tian Yao school looked up at the terrible lightning falling. Their throats rolled, and they swallowed their saliva. They gasped for Su-yi. Just as everyone was sucking in a breath of cold air for Su-yi, the terrifying lightning that could destroy everything stopped less than a foot away from Su-yi's head. The lightning was entrenched and dazzling, making people feel scared just by looking at it from afar. But at this moment, the lightning that gathered with the terrible pressure of the pressure stopped just a foot away from Su-yi's head. The lightning seemed to have felt something and was flinching. Everyone's gazes trembled. Their faces were filled with shock as they stared at the young man who was sitting cross-legged under the lightning. No one knew when, but at this moment, the young man's body was filled with a mysterious brilliance from inside out. This brilliance was dazzling and hazy, exuding a strong and oppressive spiritual energy. It seemed to be able to isolate space and spread out a bright red light. Boom! At this moment, a domineering and majestic aura erupted from the young man's body, like an emperor that could not be provoked. The lightning was entrenched, and the rumbling of thunder was endless. But the bright lightning did not dare to descend, and did not dare to get close to the hazy brilliance. This was the power of lightning, the thunder tribulation, the lightning that represented heaven's punishment. But at this moment, facing the hazy brilliance around Su-yi, it was deeply afraid and did not dare to get close. This scene was seen by many people at this moment, and they were all shocked and dumbfounded. The yellow-robed old man on the mountain peak in the distance was dumbfounded, and his face showed unprecedented horror. Akatsuki was also shocked, and he was stunned. This was the tribulation lightning, the power of lightning that represented heaven's punishment. It was actually afraid and did not dare to descend, as if it did not dare to punish the young man. Looking at the terrible scene in front of him, the lightning that represented heaven's punishment did not dare to punish the young man. Thinking of this, Akatsuki could not help but tremble in his heart. Boom! The mysterious brilliance around Su-yi's body permeated from the inside out, as if it felt that the lightning in the void was unwilling to dissipate. The red light surged out, and a domineering and destructive power surged out, as if it was a warning and also a roar. Under such a domineering and destructive power, the bright lightning trembled and began to retreat. Chi! At this moment, Su-yi's closed eyes suddenly opened, and a vortex of light surged out of his originally deep and bright eyes, and a ray of light flashed. In an instant, a terrifying aura filled the air from Su-yi's body, and an ancient aura surged like waves, as if it could suppress all directions and spread into the space. Looking at the lightning in the void, Su-yi seemed to have woken up at this moment and felt the terrifying lightning, and his eyes trembled. Tribulation. Is this the thunder tribulation? Su-yi's heart trembled. Back then, he had felt the terrifying movement when the blood jade spirit ginseng was going through the tribulation. At this moment, he felt the movement personally, and it seemed to be much more powerful. Chapter 3:15. Amidst the lightning that filled the sky, Su-yi could vaguely sense that the lightning tribulation was triggered by him, and that its target was him. During this period of time, he had been cultivating the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra in seclusion. Now that a lightning tribulation had appeared, Su-yi's heart palpitated. Could it be the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra? Su-yi's heart palpitated. He had heard of legendary heaven-grade cultivation techniques that could induce phenomena, But even if the Heaven Fei Ancient Sutra was a legendary heaven-grade cultivation technique, he had never heard of a heaven-grade cultivation technique that could induce a tribulation. However, this was a lightning tribulation. Su-yi knew that if he avoided the lightning tribulation, it would be detrimental to him. Regardless of the reason, he would be declared a failure. It was just like the blood jade spirit ginseng back then. Despite knowing that experts were searching for it everywhere, it had no choice but to face the tribulation. As he sensed the resplendent lightning that filled the sky, Su-yi could sense that the lightning seemed to be extremely beneficial to him. However, the might in his body had just emanated from the mysterious space to prevent the lightning from descending. Withdraw! Su-yi bellowed in his heart as he converged the might of the mysterious space in his body. He wanted the lightning to descend so that he could survive the tribulation. The oppressive might of the lightning left one's heart palpitating and hair standing on end. However, Su-yi could sense that the lightning was extremely beneficial to him, so there was no way for him to dodge it. As though it sensed Su-yi's thoughts, the domineering and destructive might in the mysterious space converged and vanished. Chilala. When the domineering and destructive might in Su-yi's body vanished, the lightning in the black clouds that lingered in the void immediately began to churn wildly, as though it had been pardoned. Whoosh! The stagnant lightning instantly descended as winds stirred in the void. Lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled as the thick black clouds wreaked havoc. Bolts of lightning constantly struck Su-yi's body. The entire space quietly darkened amidst the dazzling flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. It was as if the entire world had soundlessly sunk into darkness, with only the hair-raising flashes of lightning shuttling back and forth. Chila! Terrifying bolts of lightning constantly smashed down, ruthlessly striking Su-yi's body. Quite a number of scattered lightning bolts landed on the surrounding mountains and exploded, destroying them. Mountains crumbled as the earth quaked and the mountains quaked. Everyone held their breaths in anticipation. They were so horrified that their hair stood on end as they constantly trembled. Resplendent bolts of lightning bolts came crashing down. Su-yi's body was covered with electric arcs, sizzling as they covered the surface of his body. The sound of thunder kept ringing in his ears, and in an instant, Su-yi's clothes were destroyed. However, that was all there was to it. The lightning could destroy everything, but when it landed on Su-yi's body, it only destroyed Su-yi's clothes in an instant. It did not seem to have much effect on Su-yi's body. The dense electric arcs made the surface of Su-yi's body even more crystal clear. The pores on Su-yi's body could be seen faintly absorbing the power of lightning. The lightning bolts shuttled between Su-yi's flesh and blood, accompanied by a demonic aura. Originally, a seed of a mysterious power had been planted in Su-yi's body, and it was growing vigorously. At this moment, the lightning bolts seemed to be the catalyst, allowing Su-yi to sit cross-legged in the air, supported by the mysterious power. His body was sparkling and translucent, like a beautiful jade. Inside Su-yi's body, the lightning bolts crackled, resonating with his limbs and bones. Every bone, every piece of flesh, and every cell was trembling. That's the aura of the heavenly tiger art. It's the aura of the savage sutra. It's the aura of the true demon spirit. The Tian Yao School's disciples exclaimed as they watched the shocking scene. They could feel the aura of the heavenly tiger art, the savage sutra, and the true demon spirit from Su-yi's body. At this moment, the lightning bolts seemed to be refining the heavenly tiger art, the savage sutra, and the true demon spirit together. Within Su-yi's body, as the lightning bolts fell, the three types of power, force, spirit, and force, were completely integrated into his bones. Everything was incomparably mysterious. Unbelievable. He actually attracted the lightning tribulation at the demon spirit realm. This human is too dazzling. If he's left alive, I'm afraid he'll become a huge threat to the demon race in the future. The yellow-robed old man's eyes were filled with shock. He had cultivated for so many years, but he had never heard of or seen such a dazzling youth. Once such a youth matures, how many people in the demon race would be able to suppress him? Let's wait and see. This is a tribulation. We can't interfere. Akatsuki's eyes moved. His expression was complicated. This human youth was indeed too dazzling. If he was allowed to grow, he would be terrifying. But now wasn't the time to interfere. This was a tribulation, and no one dared to provoke it. Even he didn't dare. When the tribulation descended, no one dared to approach it. Interfering with the tribulation was a heaven-defying act. It was even possible to forcefully attract an even more terrifying tribulation. Once you're involved with someone else's tribulation, you'll be provoking karma, and you'll be burying a huge threat for yourself. Kaka. Suddenly, the power within Su Yi's body seemed to have reached its limit. Lightning filled Su Yi's body. An array of lights spread out. In an instant, a violent aura shot up into sky, straight into the clouds. Bang, bang, bang. The surrounding heaven and earth shook, and the space trembled. The entire Kanglan city was also affected. Cracks started to spread out on the ground. Around Su Yi's body, rays of light spread out, and energy condensed, forming the shadow of a huge barbaric demon beast. Under everyone's gaze, the huge barbaric demon beast stretched across the sky. Half of its body was entrenched in the thick thunderclouds, and it looked like an ancient dragon. A mighty aura spread out, causing everyone to tremble. Oh, whoa, look! Zheng, edition #chapter on Cool Craftsman. The beast's roar was like thunder, and the shadow of the beast roared. Then, the shadow of the dragon dissipated and turned into a huge bird. Like a phoenix, it covered the sky and swooped down. Then, the ferocious bird turned into a strange beast. It looked like it came from ancient times. Surrounded by lightning, it towered in the sky, and it was terrifying. When it looked down, even Demon Emperor Akatsuki was secretly trembling. Thousands of demonic beast shadows changed, and in an instant, they alternated. Although they were all shadows, they were lifelike, and they even had the power of a demon. It was as if they came from ancient times, and they kept appearing in the sky. In the sky, the sound of lightning and thunder had disappeared without anyone noticing. The thousands of demonic beast shadows appeared, and their aura was impressive, causing the heaven and earth to rumble. It was as if the supreme demon had descended. Awoo! In Kanglan City, thousands of beasts prostrated themselves, trembling in fear. Under countless gazes, Su Yi, who was sitting cross-legged, stood in the sky, supported by a mysterious force. The thin figure gradually appeared. His body was thin and straight, and he carried a sword on his back. His whole body was hazy, and he was shining brightly. The majestic aura that spread out from his body, and his demonic aura soared into the sky. It was as if it could break through the sky, suppress everything, and sweep in all directions. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.